From downtown, this is Tim Kitzer from NBA Jam, and you're listening to Nintendomain Podcast. Boom shakalaka!
This week on Nintendomain, we finally got that direct, and we have John Wedgeworth here to talk to us about it.
I've awoken the hero dragon, and it wants to kill me.
Grounded. My wallet, not the game.
Welcome to Nintendomain Podcast, episode 410, your place to hear Nintendo fans talk about directs. Hey, we finally got one. Look at that. We are your hosts. I'm Trey, ready to kill those young Jedis again, Johnson.
I'm Jeremy. Why, yes, that is a jockey in my pocket. A card jockey, Mikowski.
I'm John, partner knitter.
And our special guest this week is...
St. John from Des Moines of Nerd Noise Radio and AudiHD, and we are in my house at the moment. This is being recorded live at Nerd Noise Studios in Des Moines.
Trey and Jeremy are both at John's house.
We are in the Nerd Noise basement. Well, part of us is. I am in Des Moines right now for secret reasons. I'm here on a work related thing, so. But I thought it'd be fun.
And that work is the podcast.
I thought it would be fun to record a podcast in John's basement. So here we are. And it just happened to,
You've been talking about it for a while.
They happened to have a direct right in the middle of a busy week. But hey, we're here to talk about it. So
serendipity is real.
So I guess we'll just roll right into old partner direct. I guess here, let me get my bingo card.
Patty partner direct.
I wrote this bingo when I was kind of drunk last night.
I should have done a bingo. I really should have. I fell asleep last night and then had to go straight to work this morning.
So what you're saying, Trey, is this moment brought to you by alcohol? Moment brought to you by alcohol.
Well, no, actually,
and all surrounding moments
during while I was I've been recording long stuff for this job that I'm on, and I had a lot of time, so I put together a list on my phone, and I added a couple things. When I was a little tipsy.
So I threw in a few Nintendo things in there.
Well, I did. Do you want to talk about... Why don't we talk about our bingo cards? So John did one first, and you did a whole bunch of... I saw a bunch of first-party stuff on there, and this one is specifically a partner direct, but there was...
Well, I missed that it was a partner direct,
okay.
So initially I just thought it was the regular direct. That's why
sure.
I redid it. Yep.
But there were a couple things that I saw on your list, John, that I was like, hey, but you could argue for that to be on there. And one of them I put on my bingo card, and that one is Star Fox, because every Star Fox since Star Fox 64 has been made by a partner company. So
true.
And you could put F-Zero on there because the last F-Zero GX was made by Sega. So I mean that's a partner game also. And I also put Wave Race on there because that was made by an American company. The last one was a Wave Race Blue Storm. So I mean, any of these,
Kawasaki.
You could argue would be.
I mean, all three of those things. Nintendo's not doing anything. You might as well give them away. Nintendo, to Namco, to Sega, whoever will actually make the fucking games.
Exactly. So that's why I put some stuff on there that was Nintendo related. But we did get. I mean, just because it's a partner direct, there's been like the Mario plus Rabbids games have been on these before. Stuff that's has Nintendo characters in there, and we did have a specific Nintendo exclusive to finish it off, a few, so it was, it was really hard to know what to expect from this, but I've been following Pioro on Twitter. Pioro is a character from WarioWare, but that's their icon, but they like to leak stuff about directs and stuff like that. So that's why. So I heard a couple things from there. They had mention of dolphins. So I was like, well, that can go either way. So it could go to the game that's on there, or maybe it's Wave Race, because back in Wave Race we used to be able to ride dolphins. So, or some people were thinking that maybe it alluded to GameCube, and I put Metroid Prime 2 in there because I want that game on Switch. Damn it, that was just me hoping for it anyway. Even though I knew it was going to happen, I still thought that I could just hope against hope.
God, I so want that game. I so want that game.
Yeah, me too. So that's why I wanted. That was the whole reason I was going for the direct. Is I just want them to drop the fucking rest of the Metroid Prime games on there already with proper dual stick first person shooter controls because Prime was so good.
The Prime remaster was magic. I mean, it was the exact same game but with better controls and better graphics. It was just perfect for the Switch.
It was great. Yeah. No, I mean I loved it. I loved it to pieces and beat the crap out of it. So I guess I'll go through. So I think only a couple of us have bingo cards, so we can just run through our stuff that did not get picked. That didn't get picked. And actually, seeing what you did on your second time around, John, you kind of had some comedy ones in there. So I did take a little inspiration from there and did kind of try to do some silly ones on mine as well.
Sure. Well, these partner directs, it's always a little bit harder because it could be anything. It could be coming from some random third party you've never heard of, brand new IP, whatever. So I got my bottom row and it was empty. And I was just like, all right, let me just think of some funny ones. So Go ahead. What are yours, Trey?
So here's one of my funny ones. This is calling back to the days of GameCube, if you remember this. One of my spots is Peach, Luigi, and Mario get added to AEW Fight Forever.
I laughed at that one. That's fantastic.
I got
those characters being added to random streetwise type sports.
I was thinking of about NBA Street 3 on GameCube that had Mario, Luigi, and Peach in it. So I was bringing back that thing, and I got a comment from Shake about that too on Twitter. And I was like, "Yeah, Peach, Mario, and Luigi added to AEW Fight Forever. That would be hilarious, and it'd be really funny if it was in a direct." And just because I've been loving the Tomb Raider remaster so much, I put Tomb Raider 4 through 6 remastered. We already have, why not? We got 1 through 3. Let's put the rest of them on there. And even though it just came out like last week, let's do another one. Put that one on there too. As I said earlier, Wave Race because of the dolphin thing, because they wrote dolphins in there. Dragon Quest 3 2D HD. Where's that game? Is Yuji Horii dead? What happened? What's happening with that? Like everybody's kind of like, what the fuck is going on with that game? Like I
don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another Dragon Quest specific event.
Oh, sure.
Because they've established that they do those now.
Yeah, like an anniversary thing. But I saw a lot of stuff on Twitter like that too, where it's like, what's going on with Dragon Quest 3? Is it okay? Because we haven't seen anything.
They'll probably talk about 12 some more and then talk about 3 when they do. That's my
possibly. Theory. And I already said Metroid Prime 2, Hi-Fi Rush. Obviously, that was on a lot of people's lists. We know why now.
That was on my list as well.
Because it's not coming to Switch. One of the other one was I put Bakaru Goemon game released in English. I'm not going to put the whole title in it because it has like 10 words in it. But yeah, translate it, take it, put it out. Shiren the Wanderer 6, which I thought might happen because it's actually coming out next week. Turok Rage Wars, just because Night Dive Studios has had jokes about that game. I told when I beat Turok 3 in the credits, it says stop asking us about Turok Rage Wars. So I think that means that game will probably come out eventually. So that's why I put it on there, because who knows? That could easily be something that they put on there. Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 2, why not? It could happen. Star Wars Dark Forces comes out next week. I thought maybe that would be in there. Wrath, Aeon of Ruin, which is actually a 3D Realms first-person shooter game that's coming out next week as well. I thought might be mentioned in there. I put Star Fox in there because, like I said, the last few Star Fox games have been partner games. I mean, it could have been Zero. I mean, Zero was made by the fucking Bayonetta people. So Platinum made it. So I mean, they've all been by different companies, or like the Namco one. Yeah, all of them have been different. So that could easily be that. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remaster. Whatever happened to that? So I put that on the bingo also. Like, you remember that was a thing and then it wasn't and it went away. Sonic Generations Shadow version, because that was on a PlayStation Direct, never was on a specific Nintendo Direct. Could be an easy candidate. Ease 10, just because it recently got announced sort of a release date. It's coming out in fall to America, and maybe they'll throw it in there again. And Pizza Tower, because that game looks awesome. Put it on Switch. The one that looks like WarioWare, or not WarioWare, Wario World. That game looks really cool. And when I was tipsy, I put Elden Ring Cloud, just to go with the
sure,
because there was an Elden Ring trailer that happened like pretty much directly after The Switch.
We were talking about that over Fong's Pizza. I think I was
that's
the one that
probably why I
actually
put
said
it on
Elden
there.
Ring Cloud.
But my original thing that actually that I did think of that I should have written down was World of Goo 2, which did happen, and that was something that I came up with myself and didn't see leaked on Twitter or whatever. But I just forgot.
It was announced before.
I just forgot to write it down.
But yeah.
Well, it was announced at the Game Awards. It was one of the few good. It was one of the few good positive things that I saw from that terrible event.
That was a head smack moment for me when I saw that. I was like, oh, of course that's going to be
Same.
something.
Because it was mentioned before. But but we were talking about the Elden Ring trailer, and there was the Erd Tree thing that was shown, and it's coming out in June.
The Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Coming out in June this year, so they were kind of like trying to steal the thunder from Nintendo there. It kind of seemed like, where it's like, hey, Elden Ring DLC right after the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, Nintendo is now taking bets on how many hours Jeremy's going to spend on the Erd Tree expansion.
Hopefully a few.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared because I've been reading, because I've never played through any of the Souls games enough to play the expansions, but I hear the expansions are like expert mode bosses, and they're just trying to
There's more story stuff though, right?
break you down. Oh yeah, absolutely, but it's going to be really hard, and I'm kind of scared. And also, I don't know, I might start a new character because I don't know, maybe.
I mean, it's probably I figured it's like Monster Hunter, whenever they add an expansion, everything gets harder,
I think it's similar.
Yeah, like Sunbreak. Sunbreak was kind of like higher level monsters and all that, where you can only get so far if you don't know how to play properly.
So the main character in that is Mikola, Mikola, who's
Nikola Tesla,
who's the twin brother of the hardest boss in all Souls history, Melania, who is in Elden Ring. So you're the twin brother is I don't know, it's going to be really bad. It's going to be scary.
I mean, you'll get it though. I know you will.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't lie to us. We all know you're getting it.
Oh no, I'll be playing it day one.
Yeah. What did you have on your bingo card, John? That's
so that wasn't in the show, and I won't repeat the things that you said because I had a couple that you said already. But Euphoria 2, that was an obvious one because that game looks fantastic. It's a Sunsoft game. It has a cute.
That's coming out next week or the week after. Also, it's
really
right
soon.
around the corner.
Yeah, right around the corner. So that made sense, but it wasn't on there. I put Shenmue because I always put Shenmue, and I had to put it, just an obligation at this point. The Plucky Squire, another one that's coming out this year that just looks amazing. I'm really looking forward to this game. That game, however, showed up today in the IGN FanFest series of announcements. So it was present today, but not in the Direct.
It was around, yeah.
It was around. Saga Emerald Beyond, I think that's like a Square game or something. But I perused the coming soons on the Nintendo website, and that one was coming pretty soon. That just made sense to me. Little Kitty Big City, that one got some big waves last time it came around, but maybe they've just not made any more real progress on it. So I don't know. It's supposed to be coming soon.
No more kitty related programming.
No more kitty stuff. I put this two Star Wars Hunters and then Dark Forces. None of those got mentioned, but Battlefront got mentioned.
But a good one did. A really good one that I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
As I put on Twitter and on here, is we get the good Battlefront, not the shitty EA one that came out where they tried to kill you with microtransactions. This one's actually fun to play.
I thought maybe we'd hear more about the Gecko Gods, which we heard about a couple months ago. Nothing about that. What else? Warhammer. There's one called Warhammer 40,000 Daka Squadron. Warhammer is a pretty big property, and that's coming out really soon. But I was actually surprised that nothing got mentioned about that for that reason. Top Racer Collection, if you remember those Super Nintendo games.
Yeah,
I was pretty excited when that got announced.
I have my eye on that. I'm planning on getting it when it comes out.
I thought maybe MLB The Show because it's baseball season coming up, and that just made sense timing wise. Plumbers Don't Wear Ties comes out in a couple of days, and I thought, okay, maybe that was a bit of a stretch because that is actually going to be. I think it's going to be an M-rated game because technically there's nudity and all that stuff. So maybe it didn't make sense for the Nintendo Direct, but
Nintendo's past that now, though. I mean, that's old Nintendo.
I was going to say that's Mortal Kombat 1.
I was saying Mortal Kombat 1's already on Switch. I've beat it.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. I'm making a joke.
Yeah, no.
Because Mortal Kombat 1 did come out last year, and it is on Switch, and I have it.
And it still has all this. They didn't tweak it, right? There's still just sweat and stuff, right?
It's a different game. It's a stupid idea. So Mortal Kombat 12 is called Mortal Kombat 1.
God, that's right. Okay, yep. I'm
so
sorry.
So they wanted to make it's like Xbox One. They wanted everything to be confusing again
because that worked so well for Xbox.
Yeah, I thought it was. I like the game a lot. I like Mortal Kombat 1. I think it's a stupid name. It's still Mortal Kombat 12. It's not a reboot. It's totally a sequel. It's just whatever. It's fun though. And they made the Switch version better, so whatever. But I mean, they'll put anything on these directs. I don't think it necessarily needs to be like a certain rating or whatnot.
Yeah, maybe it was too much of an oddball for a mainstream presentation like that. But anyway, I'm regardless still looking forward to that game. One that I put on here as a joke, but I thought for sure it would become true, and it didn't. I put nothing from EA. And there was something from EA. There was one EA game on there.
Yeah,
one time that I put this joke in there.
Well, we can talk about it whenever we get to it. It was the one that was announced by that guy from Raised by Wolves, that actor, from on the Game Awards.
Yep. Some joke ones I put on there. I put Captain N homage game. Like I thought in the way that there's Arzette, sort of a weird, bizarro version of the Zelda games. Maybe there could be some. Or why didn't somebody make a Captain N game? Like have some bizarro Simon Belmonts and Simon Mega Man or whatever.
The angry, gravelly Mega Man and all that.
Do a bizarro
Little Shop of Horrors, Mother Brain.
The ditzy Belmont guy and all that.
Yeah, the Little Shop of Horrors, Mother Brain. I want somebody to make the Captain N game that I wanted to see as a kid. I said it as a joke, but I was like, wait a minute, that's actually kind of a cool idea. Like somebody make an actual Captain N parody game, please. That did not appear in this.
Speaking of Arzette, it's a foreshadowing, but John Wedgeworth actually has Arzette, so we're gonna talk about it later.
I saw you post about it. I got questions
after we get past the direct.
Yeah, so I actually busted out the CDI with the CDI's.
Oh yeah, and you have the CDI with the Zelda games.
I have the actual honest to God CDI with Link: The Faces of Evil on CD, Zelda: The Wand of Gamelon on CD. I set it up in the basement. When you have a system that old and it's been that long since you've used it, you hold your breath every time you fire it up because you're afraid it might not still work anymore.
Imagine.
But I'm pleased to report that it works like a dream, and I busted it out so that Trey could try the CDI Zelda games before we took him to Arzette, so he could see just how perfect this thing. Here we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but
sure.
Trey got here too late. We didn't get a chance to do that.
Oh well, we also took a lot of time setting up. I wanted to set up all the audio stuff before we did any sort of fun stuff.
Sure.
So, but what else do you have on there?
Just 3 more. So I said Shantae X TurboTax. I want a Shantae TurboTax crossover where she just magically gives you your taxes.
Very sexy taxing. You want your taxes to be sexy. To do Shantae.
I was messing around. I was messing around with AI text to image thing, and I love doing like subversive, wacky stuff. I always do. So I made a TurboTax, the NES game. So it's like the NES cartridge of like TurboTax.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Yeah.
Does it send
probably
you a
the worst
refund
way
if
you could possibly do your taxes?
Well, I didn't have a chance to do anything but 4 pictures, so it's just a picture of the NES cartridge with like wacky box art stuff.
And it has 6 fingers for some reason.
Since Shantae's a pirate, actually, I know. Oh wait, she's not a pirate. Never mind.
She's a genie.
Since Tricky's a pirate, I figured out where they do their taxes.
Where's that?
Pirate Bay.
H&R Block.
Oh God.
Oh wow.
There you go.
That needs to be cast into DC.
Speaking of the sea. Oh, I guess we have more. We have more bingo stuff.
I would like to see an M-rated Smash Brothers with cereal mascots. Like just have a free-for-all brawl with Tony the Tiger and the little Rice Krispie elves,
and
then
the rabbit. The tricks
Captain
are for
Crunch,
kids.
Rabbit, everybody.
Yeah.
Have them rip each other apart. And then the last one, I want. I thought we'd see maybe another Konami collection that probably sucks. We didn't see that.
Hey, you have Konami collections. You paid for them. You have a Castlevania collection.
I'd say there's some good Konami collections.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
But the Metal Gear one was universally panned.
Well, no,
and I think that, like in retrospect, I feel the other Konami collections, like, don't live up to what's the company that does the great collections. The other ones,
Undercover
Digital Eclipse.
Digital Eclipse.
Digital Eclipse. Yeah.
Well, yeah, nothing really does that. But I mean, I still really want the Metal Gear Solid collection. I think the main thing was that they didn't really change it much from the other Solid collection that they released before, and also that was better. But it wasn't as panned as the Arkham collection was. At least those games are still playable.
True. But that's it for my bingo.
I was going to say, with all the talk of Pirates and Sea of Thieves, we can jump into the Direct and talk about how we didn't get Sea of Thieves, but it probably wouldn't run on Switch anyway. But we did get Grounded, which I think you had that on your bingo card. I don't know what Grounded is, but it's
I do.
But it would fit into our upcoming expansion pack episode where we talk about
It's what you are for not doing your research.
teeny characters.
Oh,
Yeah. Imagine Honey, I Shrunk the Kids in the Yard.
Yeah, no, I was
Yeah,
interested
it's
by
totally
it.
that.
I was interested by it because it's just got first person stuff in it, and you can like knock down giant grass stalks or something, right, with your sword or whatever.
You can watch an ant die and cry.
So tell me about Grounded. I guess you just did.
I did. I give you the thumbnail, the fortune cookie version.
So yeah, we saw Grounded. It's coming. What's the release date on here? Oh, April 16th. Okay. And also there was another announcement about we found out what was happening with Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves, and they're not coming to Switch. That's what's happening with those.
yeah. I was confused about that. I was confused about that because I thought the wording of the headlines. There was an article from Microsoft's official blog, and it just the way it worded it like lumped all four of the games together and said these 4 games are coming to other consoles. And so I thought, oh, all those games are coming to other consoles. I think that was also like prefaced in the rumor mill by saying Microsoft is bringing these 4 games to, Switch, PlayStation, et cetera, whatever. So I thought the headlines, the news releases, IGN did a similar headline where I thought they did a poor job explaining that not all the games are coming to every console. So essentially, Switch is getting, I guess we'll go in order of. Should we go in order of the director, or should we just spill it all right now? Because these 4 games were all talked about at once. I think it makes sense to talk about it right now.
The Microsoft stuff. I mean, you could talk about Pentiment's the only one.
Yeah,
that is also on the list, so that's fine.
Grounded and Pentiment coming to Switch. Hi-Fi Rush and PlayStation is getting both of those, but PlayStation is also getting Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves, whereas Switch is not getting Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves. And
Pentiment will be out by the time this episode posts, so it's coming out on Thursday. But it's not. It is not on the eShop. I know. I said I thought I saw it, but I was wrong.
Now, do we know if that's Switch is not getting it now, or Switch is never getting it? Do we know? Do we have clarity on that?
I think maybe never, because I would think that it would have been announced with the other stuff if it was, right?
On the flip side, there was a data mine or something. Somebody dug into some code and found some preparations for the Switch in Hi-Fi Rush. This was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I think it's coming eventually. I think it's not right now.
Maybe it's for the the
Switch 2.
The rumored Switch 2 that still doesn't exist. So it can't be delayed yet. It doesn't actually exist.
The Super Ultra Mega King Kong Nintendo Switch.
Yes, that one. So yeah, all that Microsoft stuff, which there was some meeting about. They had their business meeting last week, right, where they said they're going to bring their stuff to other things, which was kind of something they'd been wanting to do for a while. But yeah, now we have a couple coming to Switch. I'm really interested in Pentiment because I heard really good things about that game. So we'll see. I mean, I already bought a couple.
I keep wanting to call it Pertinent. I don't know why, but Pentiment.
It's so pertinent. Yeah, I already bought a couple things from today's Direct, so I don't know how much Pentiment will be, but I want to know more about it before I jump into buying it, because like I said, I got some other things. But
I'm a sucker for a game with a great art style, and the art style alone just has me. I don't really care what kind of game it is.
The story's supposed to be really, really good too, just the way it. I need to learn more about it. Another thing I need to learn more about, because I don't know anything about it, is Ender Magnolia, Bloom in the Mist. What is that?
Oh yeah, so there's Ender Lilies. What's the game called? It's called Ender Lilies, Curse of the something, or maybe it's just called Ender Lilies. I don't know. But this is a sequel, basically. There's another Ender game already out on Switch.
Okay.
And it's I believe they're Metroidvanias. This looks very much like Metroidvania to me. In fact, I thought it looked a lot like Ori, just in the layout and the color palette and all that stuff.
It kind of
Ori vibes.
I'm hoping that based on how they describe it, that it's sort of like a Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, where you're like collecting souls, but it sounds like you're collecting like whatever is this the right game I'm thinking of? They're like these beings that are stuck, and they kind of like become your allies as you go.
I remember they kept saying homunculi.
Homunculi, yeah, that's
word
right.
That they keep
So, like,
talking about.
The homunculi, I wonder if they're not like the souls in Aria of Sorrow, where they give you abilities and stuff.
Could be. I mean, yeah, it shows like kind of the shadowy form coming off of you that'll do stuff. Like I see one right now with like an angel with a gun shooting for you.
Yeah.
It definitely does look really cool in the art style, and it does kind of have like a horror-ish vibe to it, like Castlevania. So, yeah, I thought it looked neat, but I also was tired of them saying homunculi because I say it like 10 times in the trailer. I'm like, that was almost my middle name. I was like, I could just be homunculi.
Well, don't ever get into paleontology.
I'm not planning on it.
You'll be saying similar words a lot.
Yeah. I used to want to when I was a kid, but I heard you couldn't make any money in it. So.
Say homunculi? You can still say it.
No, paleontology. The next one is a weird slidey game that just kind of looks... It's like, have you ever wanted to play a game where you're on a conveyor belt, sort of, but you control the conveyor belt?
I think it looks really interesting. I'm actually super interested because
art style looks really cool too.
I love those slide puzzles. You know, we've talked about this before.
Oh yeah, you do.
I love those slide puzzles. It's
I'm
like a whole game that's one of those slide puzzles.
The game is called Arranger, a role puzzling adventure.
A role-playing game.
A roll slider.
Yeah. So no, but the art, from what I saw on the direct, the art style vaguely reminds me of Crypt of the Necrodancer or the Hyrule mashup of that.
Cadence of Hyrule.
Cadence of Hyrule. You know, because like, yeah, it's happening on a slider, but it almost seems like there's kind of it almost has that kind of rhythmic movement to it, like the bounce from those games.
Oh yeah, totally. No, it does. Looking at it right now, it is kind of like that. Hopefully, it's better than that game because I don't like that game. I did a podcast about it though.
I like the music.
Yeah, the music's great.
Music was good. Yeah,
I did kind of like the game, but that's
I heard the person who wrote that music started out on OC Remix.
Probably
true.
Yeah, probably.
We love the music.
That's believable.
But yeah, the art style does look really cool on the slidey one. It kind of looks like you're inside of like a coloring book. You know, it kind of has like this flat images behind it, and it looks neat. And they're both kind of coming out vague times in 2024. Well, this one's 2024 summer. The other one's
I just like the thoughts of
sometime.
like I'm walking down the street and somewhere like 2 miles away, someone's just falling into oblivion because I'm moving.
That dude's having a bad day.
It's like what if Super Hot was a slide puzzle? There you go.
Oh,
Kind of, yeah. I got that a little bit.
Because
I
they
love
said
Super
like
Hot.
they said a whole thing where like everything moves when you move, which is like how this is.
That's super hot.
But speaking of super
Super
hot,
slide.
super hot.
speaking of something that's hot, Unicorn Overload, baby. We get to see more of that. That was on my
that was on
bingo-
my
bingo
incomplete bingo card I made. That and yeah, I did also put Hi-Fi Rush because I'm a dummy.
But yeah, Unicorn Overlord. It's coming out in a couple weeks. It looks very cool, and there's a demo that came out today, and it carries into the game. So I'm very excited.
And I played that
to try.
demo.
Oh, you did? What's it like?
Yes.
That was it.
What do you think?
Let me tell you about the demo. It's great. I don't think it's my kind of game though. I can tell already.
Exactly.
It's strategy, right?
It reminds me a lot of either like a lot like Advanced Wars or Wargroove. It's similar where you're doing these real-time battles, but you're earning resources that allow you to deploy more things from your different you kind of liberate different spots on the map from enemies, and then you can use those as deployment points for new units. It's kind of what it's like. And I mean, it's definitely got some Fire Emblem vibes for what I've played of Fire Emblem, as far as like, there's a whole lot of dialogue. There's a whole lot of like in-game animated cutscenes, which are really cool. And they're probably one of the best part of it. It's just, it looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a Vanillaware game who did like what was it Muramasa the Dedema Blade, which I played all the way through on Wii. Like I really like that game a lot.
It's a really, really, really pretty game. Like if nothing else, that's what it's got going for it. But
And the food.
I understand
always
these
looks
people like
amazing.
these games. Yeah, I understand why people like these kind of games, but I get intimidated by these. And I played the demo. I played up through because it lets you get off. I guess it's sort of like a training area, you might call it, which is like the island where you're staying as you're like
Tutorial Island.
departing to do other things. Yeah. And so I just left that island and I'm like, the demo keeps going. So there's more to do, but I played probably about 30 minutes of it.
If it doesn't already exist, I really hope there's some game where the tutorial island is actually literally called Tutorial Island.
There is
Like that
Outside
exists.
Island.
Yeah, well, Outside Island's the same idea, but I mean, I'm just wanting something that literal.
It's ringing a bell. I think it exists somewhere.
I heard it was kind of like a little bit like Final Fantasy 12, like in the Gambit system, where it's like if this happens, this happens. So I'm kind of interested in
That's
that,
what I'm
I
wondering.
guess.
Yeah, I think there's the combat's deeper, and I've only like seen a little bit of it. What I've seen so far reminds me a lot of Advance Wars, but and I played more of Wargroove than Advance Wars, but I did play Advance Wars on the Wii U a little bit after I played Wargroove just to like compare them, and so it's got that sort of gameplay loop, I think, and then there's probably more to it. There's probably a lot more to it because this company's known for making exquisite games, so I expect it to be a really great game for people that love that kind of thing.
I'm curious. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'm willing to pay $60 for it, but I definitely want to try the demo because I want to see how it feels. Like it's like Triangle Strategy. Like I thought that game was beautiful. I was awful at it. I got destroyed. Like I barely won. Like I won with like one character left with maybe one hit point left. Like I suck at this game. We'll have to try it out.
I will say, as far as like the story goes, I don't know. It's fairly tropey, so maybe it changes, but I'm not super impressed by the whole like, the whole point of the story where you're like a prince avenging the kingdom that fell under his mom's guidance or whatever, and his mom left him a special artifact, which is kind of the namesake of the game.
Left him the Overlord hat.
Well, the unicorn ring, but it's like connected to some mystical unicorn beast that's going to ultimately probably be not the big bad, but maybe the big good. Maybe the big bad. I don't know.
Maybe the big mid.
Sometimes these games, they turn out to be the big bad.
Maybe the big neutral. Let's. That one's coming out on the 8th of March. But the next one is something I'm interested in, even though I have the sequel to it, and that is Monster Hunter Stories. It's finally coming to the Switch, and that is the 3DS Monster Hunter Stories, which I always heard was better than Monster Hunter Stories 2. So I will be willing to try it again.
So I think it's saying something when and I didn't want to be too pessimistic, but I'm not saying anything other people aren't already saying, that we got to be at the end of this console generation with the Switch because we're starting to see a lot of 3DS ports. There's like two just in this, spoilers. There's two just in this presentation.
Hey, I'm not.
We're probably going to see even more.
I'm ready for
and
it.
I'm okay with that.
I like
But
the
it
3DS.
really is kind of like they're just going to keep like throwing stuff out there that maybe people missed the first time around.
Right, because the ceiling in terms of what they can accomplish on hardware that was already underpowered in 2017 is going to get smaller, lower and lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, underpowered like almost 8 years ago. Like we're like
And all the good Wii U games for the most part, with a few exceptions.
Have already
of course,
been
we
done.
know those.
I mean, we're like a week away from the Switch anniversary, pretty much, right? Almost.
It's the only system I ever waited
Because
in
it's
line
the third. It's the third,
March
right?
3rd, yeah.
March 3rd, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a week from the Sunday. I only know because I was watching wrestling earlier, and the anniversary of the Switch is the same day as AEW Revolution. But Monster Hunter Stories. I know some people will be happy because, like I said, they really like the 3DS one, and I like what I played of the 3DS one. There was a pretty hefty demo that came with it that I played, and it was cool. And I like Monster.
Oh, so you never actually bought it on the 3DS?
I did not own it. I only played the demo.
Oh, cool. Well, then even more reason for you to
So
buy
it's
this.
new to me. The only one I bought was 2, which I didn't like as much. I don't know. The rock paper scissors thing was kind of got annoying after a while, but it had some really cool special move cutscenes that you could do.
Are you talking about Monster Hunter Stories 2 on the Switch?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Switch one.
Now, is that a direct sequel to the first? Like, are you going to get more out of the game if you play the first one? Maybe.
I don't think it's the same characters or whatever. I think it's just the same.
Okay.
I just think it's just the same world, like Final Fantasy. But that's
The
coming out.
Monster Hunter world.
Yeah. But that's coming out 2024 summer. I just want to get on a giant monster and fly around. I want an open world with a flying beast.
I mean,
who
doesn't?
I'd like it. That's all you need. That's what you need to hit. Like big, open, beautiful world. Give me a mount, especially one with wings. I can fly around.
I like several mountains because I like mountains.
Like Pokemon Legends Arceus. I had a lot of fun with that because you had a flying thing that you could fly around with.
Yeah.
This one was kind of out of nowhere. Like wasn't really leaked. Like I kind of forgot about it. But Epic Mickey, remember that game? That was a Wii game. This is just kind of like this was the what the fuck moment for me, I guess, where I was kind of like
same.
Oh, Epic Mickey, huh? I thought everybody forgot about that game.
This plays into what Jeremy was just talking about, though, about like let's dig back into previous systems.
Of re-releasing a Wii game.
Yeah.
I mean, people always said it was good. I mean, it looked good in the direct. You know what? I never cared about Mickey. He was never a favorite of mine. Of any of the Disney
it's hard
characters.
I feel the same. Like it looks like a good game. I mean, it's been out for 15 years now, and I've had 15 years of chances to play it, and just never felt bothered to do so. And there was even the sequel. There was Epic Mickey 2, just the same.
Yeah,
felt like who cares about Mickey? I remember. Don't you remember when that game
pretty.
first came out? It was like part of the mission Disney was stating, and Warren Spector, who designed the game, was stating like they wanted to infuse some life and character into Mickey and make him just as meaningful to video games as Mario. And I think they failed in that. Mickey is just still the same bland corporate character that he always was, and he's not relevant to video games.
Which to me, I think is funny because it sounds like the whole like 80s and 90s kind of one of the media tropes or whatever you want to call it was like, more kids know who Mario is than Mickey in America. I remember that being a thing, and it's
that,
like
yep.
it's like Disney's still holding that to heart. They're
Let's
like, no,
flip it. Well, actually,
Mickey's a game hero. God damn it! Someone's going to make a really good Steamboat Willie like game since that's in the public domain.
Yeah.
They actually have.
There were already several announced when on the day of the release or whatever. Several Mickey games, Steamboat Mickey games, and movies and all that stuff were announced.
There's a Steamboat Willie level in the Sega CD Mickey Mouse game.
I bet there is.
I've heard that's a pretty good game.
Mickey Mouse is actually a lot more popular than you think. Jess's brother's son loves Mickey Mouse because there's a ton of like Mickey Mouse kids cartoons, and Mickey Mouse is his favorite Disney character. So just because we don't think he's that cool doesn't mean that kids don't, because he has a ton of stuff if you're younger.
There's a modern Mickey cartoon that's out there, which I've heard from other sources that they've actually taken some risks with it, and for that reason, it's got some personality. So keep going in that direction.
I think that cartoon they were being a little bit wackier. They were being a bit more like the way cartoons used to be, like in the 20s and 30s or whatever, when they were just basically bending reality constantly because people were still learning how to use animation and like seeing like, oh, well, I could make his arm turn into a hammer right now instead of him grabbing a hammer. Stuff like that where they're just like, let's just do that because we can. And I do kind of think that would be fun to see more in modern animation, and I think that was probably sort of what they were going for in that remake, which I didn't see, or because I think they gave like that version of Mickey the like little triangles out of his iris and all that, like the old school look.
Yeah,
Mickey is basically on my list of game I'll get if it's cheap enough, because I wouldn't mind trying it out, but it'd have to be like $10 or something.
One thing I want to say about Epic Mickey is that I've always seen that, up until recently, maybe. I don't know. I guess I haven't made mental stock of it, but that's just a game I always saw anywhere I'd go where there were used games. There was always Epic Mickey, like really cheap, like $2 or something.
Yeah, you see it around a lot. Maybe I should just do that. Maybe I should just buy it for Wii for like $5 and just play it on.
In fact, I think they've got it at the disc replay, and it's been on the GameCube shelf for a while. I keep thinking about buying it, but I haven't.
I'll say it was a Wii game.
I bet you anything we find it at JCD and Hobby when we go. But it would be interesting to me to see a YouTube video with a graphic comparison, like a side-by-side comparison of the Wii and the Switch versions.
Oh, it's out there. I watched it.
Oh, it has. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that does.
I think Nintendo Life made one or something. Okay, but you can find it.
I do think that it looks pretty. YouTube. This new one looks pretty. It did grab me at first. It did make me go like, oh, what? first I recognized it as Epic Mickey right away, but despite that, I felt like, I actually kind of feel like I want to try it. Did I actually miss something? I think it was a good presentation. But yeah, I was quickly. I've talked about this before. Rather than remakes, I always want to play the original game if I missed it, and so that's just what I went right back to. I want to play the original game. It made me want to play the original. Wanted to give it a fair shake,
for sure, or a fair wave or whatever. That's coming out another random 2024 time. This one I was excited about until I figured out what it actually was. The next one, and that is Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, which I did put on my bingo card because there was a rating of it leaked in Korea or something like that. Like it was in the news. I saw it around, and I was like, oh, that must be some new Shin Megami Tensei thing. And I was like, oh, cool, it's DLC. I never got to beat 5. I really liked 5 a lot. And I was like, cool, I'll go back and play more 5 and beat it and do this. No, it's basically Persona. It's like Persona 5 Royal or like Persona 4 Golden or whatever. It's the same game released again with extra shit. So it's not DLC.
Oh.
So you have to buy the whole thing all over again. And I'm not excited about that. I want to play the one that I already have and beat it and then buy an extra thing. So that's kind of a weird step, I guess. I guess the big thing is it's releasing to every other console. So Jeremy can play it now when it goes to PlayStation Plus. You could try it out and get your ass kicked because it's totally the Elden Ring of turn-based RPGs.
Oh,
they will kick your fucking ass up and down in that game.
I made it to the first significant boss and never made it further, and then I put it down, never picked it up again.
Shin Megami Tensei?
Yeah, 5.
You played 5? The Switch
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's hard, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know you played 5.
I did. Yeah, I got it for Christmas maybe through the Christmas right after it released, whatever year that was.
Okay. Yeah, it released around the end because I remember I played 3 because I had Nocturne came out. They re-released the PlayStation 2 game, which I love that one too. And 5 was like that. Was very similar to that game.
You talked about not liking the rock paper scissors model of the other game, and what is Shin Megami Tensei but rock paper scissors?
But I like that though. The press turn where it's almost kind of like Pokemon in that way, where you have the different types of the different attacks that do different things. Like I like that.
It's like rock, paper, scissors.
Well, there's a lot more types. It's like Pokemon more. It's a very hard Pokemon. If you think Pokemon's too easy, play Shin Megami Tensei.
Ooh, it's Elden Pokemon.
Well, Shin Megami Tensei actually outdates Pokemon.
Oh,
by
for
the
sure,
way.
for sure.
So I like bringing that up for anybody who was saying anything about like Dragon Quest Monsters. I was like, well, Dragon Quest Monsters is actually based on Shin Megami Tensei, which is older than Pokemon. So
I know for a fact that the
it's
original
not a Dragon Quest Pokemon.
I know for a fact that the original Shin Megami Tensei was on the PC Engine. Was that the only platform it was on, or was it multi-platform from the get-go?
I believe before the Shin, just regular Megami Tensei was on NES or was on Famicom.
Okay.
I know that because I bought the Super Famicom version of it that was translated. I bought like a Super Nintendo because they remade it, they re-released it on Famicom. I bought like an English version of that.
Okay.
So I've played that game actually on my Super Nintendo, and it's cool. But of Megami Tensei, but I wanted to play. Actually, I bought the wrong thing. I wanted to play the original Shin Megami Tensei on Super Famicom, but I played the remake of the NES game. Anyway, regardless, they're all good. Try them out if you really want to try a hard-ass RPG game where you get to collect monsters. They're all based on different religious, like, gods and demons and stuff. It's really cool. Like, the stuff that you get is like real shit. Like, you can collect fucking Pazuzu from The Exorcist, like the actual demon from the movie, which is awesome. So I totally had that demon because The Exorcist is one of my favorite movies ever. So, yeah. June 21st. If you didn't play Shin Megami Tensei 5, you can play it on this one. And yeah, it's interesting. It's going multi-platform and all that. So maybe, like I said, maybe it'll show up on PlayStation Plus or whatever, Game Pass or whatever.
You know,
So
I'll look real quick and see if it's on Steam.
I thought it was going to everything, so I think it's releasing on everything. But actually, my game of the show, my game of the direct, or one of the ones that I'm the most excited about, which I said in my middle name, is the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. I never played Star Wars Battlefront 1, and I think it's kind of weird that it's in there because I think they're kind of similar, but whatever. Star Wars Battlefront 2, I played the shit out of it. When I first bought my PS2, that was one of the first games that I got. And man, I love the fuck out of that game. It was basically like... what?
How many Battlefront games are there, and how many are in this collection?
I think there's only 2. I think there's only 2 in this collection. There was sequels past 2, but those were the shitty EA ones, where they microtransacted you to death, which I do actually have one because I bought it for $8 because nobody wanted it, So And it's it's whatever. It's not. It's no way as good as 2. Like I loved Star Wars Battlefront 2. It was almost kind of like a Star Wars GTA because you ran around as like you could play as a stormtrooper or like a rebel person depending on what timeline you picked, and you could play through all of the timelines that existed at the time. The good ones, not the sequels. So you could be in the prequel time or the original trilogy time, and you could play as like the droids, or you could play as like the whatever. The Empire, and you could play as like stormtroopers, you could play as rebel characters, but you can also get into vehicles and you can move around the planet, and you can also like get in spaceships and go and do space battles and like land inside of spaceships and also walk around and shoot people. Like it was fucking cool. Like actually the original Battlefront 3, which didn't come out, was made by the people who did Time Splitters. So it was going to be made by the people who did Time Splitters. Free Radical, yeah. And there was a video that was released that showed you like getting into a spaceship and taking off from the planet and going through space into space, having a space battle and landing on a spaceship and coming out. This one is actually, I think it's separate. I think there's space battles and there's planet battles, but you can still, like get in different vehicles and fight people. And yeah, it's supposed to be fully online, which is awesome. And in Star Wars Battlefront 2, there was hero mode where it was kind of like a power up, but you could become like Darth Vader or like Obi-Wan Kenobi or like Darth Maul or like or like whatever General Grievous or whoever. You could become these super powered characters and go around and kill people, and it was just fun as fuck. Like I had a great time with it. Star Wars Battlefront 2 had a single-player mode where you get to start at the very beginning. You basically play as a stormtrooper, but you get to fight with the Empire as they kill everyone. That's why I was talking about, like, I'm ready to kill the younglings again, because you totally get to walk around with Anakin and kill all the Jedis and all that from Episode 3. And it's just basically all about the rise of the Empire, and you start in the prequels, and you go all the way through the original trilogy and all that, and yeah, and you start as like a 101st stormtrooper, but you get to do Anakin stuff too, and yeah, I had a fucking blast with that game. Like that was one of my favorite PlayStation games, so I'm very excited to see it come to Switch, and I'm totally buying it. So that was one of my big peaks of the thing, and yeah, just the fact that it's going to have online mode again, and you can actually play it online. It's great because I played it online with the PS2 with the fucking Ethernet cable plugged into the wall. I had a great time with that.
Do we know if it's going to be cross-platform multiplayer?
You know what? I was wondering about that. I hope so, but I haven't seen any articles saying that it is or it isn't. I would guess yes, but don't quote me on it.
Well, I just added the game to my wish list on Steam, so if it's cross-platform, maybe we can find each other there.
But I had a lot of fun with it, and it's going to have there's a hero mode deathmatch thing where you can just play as the heroes. Like if you just want to just play as like Darth Vader and Obi-Wan or whatever, you can do that. And I remember that was fun. You'd play in Tatooine, and they would just play like the weird songs while you're doing it. Like said, they'd play like Lapty Neck or like the Jizz Whalers song, or like the weird.
Yes.
You know who I'm talking about, the Jizz Whalers.
Yes, of course, absolutely.
From the first movie.
So we talked about the piece that plays in the Star Wars Cantina in the first movie?
Yeah.
That would be great.
But the Lapty Neck song was the song that was replaced by that really shitty song from the Lucas version.
Yeah.
Where they added the new whatever.
Yeah.
But it was and they put Yub Nub in there too, so they had all these like fun songs that like weren't in there anymore. It was just it was a great like game for a Star Wars nerd like myself, and I really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was really fucking cool.
Has there ever been Bib Fortuna in any of the Star Wars games? Because that's a guy that needs to show
Bib Fortuna. I don't know. They're actually there's going to be some DLC on here that I guess I heard was exclusive to Xbox originally or something like that. But there is some extra stuff on there that wasn't on the PlayStation 2 version that I played. So they are adding a couple characters that weren't on there. So, but yeah, it was just a fun ass game to play. Like it was really good online multiplayer and really good single player too. So I recommend checking it out. And it's on sale for $30. I think it's $35. I mean, you could say that's a little steep, but keep in mind that this is something that's going to have an online system. So, you should pay for that because people work on that. It's not like you're just getting the game. But I highly recommend it.
I think South Park Snow Day looks pretty cool. I haven't played the other two South Park games, but this one seems a bit different from the others. From what I can see. It
looks okay. I just kind of have I don't know. Sorry, I can't do South Park anymore. They've become like so transphobic that it's just like it just kind of hurts me to see their stuff. That's kind of like I don't know. But,
I kind of find it odd that it's still a viable video game franchise, but at the same time, it's still I mean, at this point, it's a piece of legacy media that's been around for so long that it makes sense that they're still making IPs off of it. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird to play as some kid, the kids from South Park. Obviously, it's going to be tongue in cheek and not so tongue in cheek, offensive humor and all that, but. Honestly, I don't see the appeal in the gameplay.
I thought the game looked all right, but yeah, like I said, I don't know. South Park's kind of become borderline right wing stuff at times. I don't know. They've kind of lost their way. What do they say on Talking Simpsons? It's it's rich people trying to
they're kind of
write about real life or whatever
anymore, more so than
yeah.
But
But there are a lot of really, really awful transphobic jokes in there, which just make me cringe.
die young enough as the good guy to not see yourself become the bad guy.
Sure. I mean, ever since they did that whole episode about a trans wrestler, which I'm pretty sure felt like it was directed at one of my favorite wrestlers, I swore off the show forever. So it seemed like it was an anti-Nyla Rose episode, so they can fuck right off for that.
What about Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream? I've never understood this series. And what is Sword Art? Is it like people looking at swords on DeviantArt or something? What does that mean? It makes nothing to me.
I was going to say,
nothing to me.
It's an anime, and I actually know one of our listeners likes this series a lot because I know that he's played through a lot of them on Switch, and there are a lot of them out there. Yeah, I don't really know anything about it either, but I don't know. This game looks cool from what I saw of it.
I was going to say, I understand all of those words individually, but I don't understand them together.
That's the case with a lot of anime titles. It's this makes sense separately, but together, this is word salad.
Yeah.
I like the new anime stuff where they explain exactly what it is. Like that one that's I got turned into a slime and I ate this today. And that's what the show is called. I guess they want it. I heard that it's so they want you to know what's. I guess it comes for a lot of the manga where they want you to know exactly what you get if you're buying it. It's the ones that have the really long titles that tell you everything about it.
I know you mentioned on the in the Slack, John, but that anime about the eating food in the dungeons is so good.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Jess and I have been watching it. Dungeon
Is it
Meshi. Well, Dungeon Meshi is the Japanese, but yeah,
and that's called Delicious in Dungeon.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been watching all those. That show's really good. But there's not a game of that, unfortunately. There should be.
There should be. It's so good.
But you know what there is a game of? I don't know.
Gundam.
Yeah.
Gundam.
This actually looks kind of cool. This is the first Gundam game in a while where I've been I think I might actually think this is kind of cool.
We're talking about Gundam Breaker 4.
It seems like it's more toy-like.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like Gunpla stuff, right? Which is the models and whatnot, kind of
Is that what Gunpla means?
Kind of based on that, where you sort of build your machines. I don't know. I love Gundam. I would love for there to be a good Gundam game, so I'm totally for it if it's good because I really enjoyed the original. I like the original Mobile Suit Gundam, and I like Zeta, and I actually really liked the newest one, also the Witch from Mercury was really good too. So
You said it was called Gundam Breaker 4?
Yeah.
I'm looking on Steam, and the most recent thing I find is New Gundam Breaker from 2018.
Oh, okay. Well, this one was announced today. But yeah, if it's... I would love to... I'd like to have a good...
They kept saying Gunpla, and I was like, I thought you were Gundam. No, Gunpla. I was like, what does that mean? So they didn't really explain, but I guess that's... Like you said, that's the models based off of...
Yeah, the Gunpla are the toys and models that you get that you put together, that you buy.
Would that giant Gundam in Japan be considered a Gunpla?
I don't know. I don't think so. We didn't go
Somebody
directly...
put it together.
We didn't go directly to it, but we did actually... We were in a train, and I saw it in the distance when we went to Tokyo Disney, and I was like,
kind of me in the Sphere in Vegas.
I was like, oh, there's the Gundam thing back there. I just realized that was what it was, because I didn't really know where we were just riding back, and I was like, oh, there's the fucking Gundam thing back, because you could see
there's a kaiju
because it lights up really bright, and I was like, oh, it's back there.
So is it to scale? I mean, is it? I almost said life size, but
it's supposed to be. Yeah,
okay.
It is to scale.
It's big, and it moves, and it plays the song, it plays the original theme song from. I
think it's actually
you'd think it'd have to be about the same size as the Statue of Liberty, then.
I didn't stand next to it, but I saw it in the distance, and it looked big from the train.
Okay,
I think it's actually
videos of it on
utilizes
Instagram.
like hydroelectric stuff, or not? You know what I'm talking about? Not hydroelectric.
Animatronic.
No, what's the things that are in
Hydraulic?
machines that are
Hydraulic?
air based? Hydraulic. There we go. I think it's hydraulic.
Could be.
Like I think it's an actual like hydraulic machine. You know, obviously it's
It can move.
a display model, but it's an actual. If you really want to get down to brass tacks, it's a machine. It's like a not too dissimilar from like a construction machine in how it's
I believe it. So it's not
Sure.
just a static
Made.
statue, but it has movement.
exactly.
But this game,
And if needed, if Japan is attacked, it will be deployed and put to use.
I hope so.
Right. And Godzilla will come out of the ocean to help.
I like the way the Gundam Breakers looks. I would love to have a mech game that actually plays well. That's fun to play. So I'm definitely interested in this game. Hopefully it's good. I think it looks cool. And like I said, I like. Hopefully you don't need to know all of the Gundam stuff because there's a lot of shows. That's all I want. But yeah, no, I like a good actiony mech game. There was kind of
I thought a Gundam is actually short for guns. Damn.
Well, no, I was just going to make a similar joke. I was like, if I go visit the statue of Gundam Liberty, I'm going to stand at the foot and say, "Gun damn it."
You know, what was it?
Yeah.
Well, Gundam Wing. I think Gundam Wing, which was like that was the one that was on like Toonami.
The flying one.
Toonami and all that. The one that was supposedly made for ladies because all the dudes are sexy in it or whatever. They said that Gundams were made from Gundamanium in that one. That's the only series that said that, which is pretty hilariously dumb. It's almost as hilarious
like
as
the,
Unobtainium.
I was just
or
going to say
whatever.
Unobtainium.
It's like almost as dumb as
Or does it go into a
Unobtainium.
Gundamanium rage?
I don't know.
It's just, it's just
Metachlorians.
it's just a MacGuffin, really, guys.
I mean, it's just like, Adamantium was a stupid name too originally because just
It's just a Magundam.
But yeah, anyway, I like that. I like that game. It's coming out sometime this year. Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, a brand new Monkey Ball game. I'm into that.
That's
Yeah, this is
This
great.
was a very pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it's been a while since we got a brand new one, right? We got a couple of like remakes and stuff.
Well, I think they needed. I guess
This is the first new one in a
they
long
probably
time, I think.
wanted to see the popularity of it with the remakes, and I guess it was popular enough. And I had this one on my bingo card because Pioro basically tweeted a picture of a monkey and a ball. So that's how I heard there was a monkey ball coming.
So, for all you knew, though, it could have been another remake because there's so many of those games that came out that were not good. After two,
Yeah. I saw a lot of people talking about Monkey Ball Adventure, the GameCube one, which I did buy when it was new, and I ended up trading it in later because it wasn't good. It was not a good game. But this one looks cool, and I like. I know John, you probably like that. It lets you play with motion control if that's what you want.
Yeah,
And
I like
I don't
motion
prefer
controls
that
for
mode, but some
Monkey
people
Ball
do.
games.
But this
I think
one
they
has
work really well.
this one has online multiplayer too, though. You can do
Explain to me how this works.
And I think the only multiplayer mode is so it's like it's kind of a battle royale. It looks like because you could only, as far as I can tell, the multiplayer is only for that 16-player mode.
So I'm struggling to understand how the 16-player works because Monkey Ball.
there's different modes on there. So there's
It's gonna be like
there-
racing.
There's a racing mode. There's a fight a robot mode, and then there's another one also that's in the online.
And then they said there were going to be more modes.
Yeah.
I thought I saw one where they were tilting the levels with the 16 players, and I wonder how that works. Like, because in Monkey Ball,
I think you
the one
I
player
think you
tilts the
tilt
level.
it to your.
Yeah, I think it's just.
It looks like you're tilting the level, which it is in your perspective. That is actually what's happening. But I think when there's multiple players, you're tilting it from your perspective. But
Yeah, I think
it's
so
only
as well.
tilting it in your.
I think it's
world.
just only affecting you. It's just because you're playing
So
it
it's
that
kind
way.
of like everybody else is in a ghost mode or something like that. You're only affecting your individual level. You're not.
I think you're moving
the same board
yourself,
as 16
but
people.
from your perspective, it looks like you're moving the level.
Yeah, that's what I think too. If you're playing with the motion control, so I think it doesn't actually affect
Okay.
everyone else.
Gotcha.
So is this part of Sega's new enterprise of bringing new
No.
games to old franchises, or this is not part of that? This is just kind of a side thing.
would-
I don't think so.
I would say
I don't
no
think this was
because
announced with all those. No, I think those are more like legacy title, like 16-bit and all that kind of stuff.
Well, but they have Jet Set Radio in there, which is
Oh, you're right. You're right. Corrected. Yep.
crazy taxi.
Well, I was going to say no on Super Monkey Ball because maybe just because it hasn't been like dormant for as long. just because they did these remakes, like they did Banana
there's
Blitz, and they
so
did
many.
1 and 2, and
There's so many Monkey Ball games,
they kind of never really stopped making them. I guess
It
maybe
never
there
went
was kind of a
away.
little bit of a break, but not as much of a break between like Jet Set Radio and now or whatever.
Yeah, or Golden Axe. Whereas this isn't like going back to a beloved franchise that's been dead for 20 years, right? Okay, all right.
Will this be the third Monkey Ball game that's showing up on the Switch, or the fourth? I think it's the third.
It's third because they did Banana Blitz and they did and then they did the 1 and 2 remake, and I have all of them, and they're all cool.
I don't care
into
for
it.
Banana Blitz, but
Oh, I mean,
I do have it.
I got it on sale. I mean, I don't dislike it. I like that you didn't have to play it with motion control anymore, so I thought that made it.
The best one is the one that used the Wii balance board on the Wii.
I never played that one. I'm sure it was awesome. No, the best one was Monkey Ball Jr. on Game Boy Advance. We've talked about this.
You're actually right about that.
That one is cool.
What would be interesting is if some fan made like a fan D-make for the NES that uses the power pad.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Sure,
That'd
yeah.
be pretty wild.
I'll try that out.
Like Marble Madness, kind of, but with Monkey Ball. Because
Call it
Marble
like Janky
Madness
Ball.
is kind of Monkey Ball, right?
Yeah. But using the power pad as the control scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty wild.
Or the Rolling Rocker.
Or the no,
Horrible Redenbacher.
or the U-Force or G-Force, whatever. It's that really terrible thing that I have that never worked.
The Interactor.
The power glove.
No, it was called like the U-Force. I saw a video of it not that long ago on Twitter. It was like this flat thing that opened and it had a little like thing that you stuck in there and you like steered it, and it
Yeah, I've
was
seen that. Yep.
awful. I got one for Christmas. It never worked. Never got to work. But that's coming out June 25th. You can do like a deluxe edition that gets extra characters. I'm imagining that the characters that are in there are like similar to the ones that you got for the last Monkey Ball game, where they had like Kiryu Kazuma in there, and they had like the Shin Megami Tensei guy in there, and like Joker from
Yuzuki.
Persona. Like they did a whole bunch of different Sega characters that you could get and unlock or pay for or whatever. So I'm guessing that's probably what it is, and it's weird to see them running around in balls. But World of Goo 2, I was super psyched about this from the Game Awards. Like I said, I think it was one of the best things that happened there. And I hope it. Now I love World of Goo 1 on Switch. I have the soundtrack on vinyl because I think I love the soundtrack so much on Wii. I have it on Switch too. I didn't like it as much on Switch because I thought it worked better with the pointer controls, and I don't think the pointer controls work very well on Switch. So hopefully. And this was a pretty early release on Switch. Hopefully it's better now. You know, I know you could always play on the touchscreen, and that was the better way to do it. But I'm still really excited about it. I'm still going to get it. I just hope that it plays better than World of Goo 1 did on Switch. You know, it was really made for the Wii pointer control, and I think that was the best way to play it. So
I mean, so I played it on the PC, which it works well with the mouse, you know, but that's kind of what the Wii was emulating.
For sure. I mean, it's like it was an air mouse, but I had a ton of fun with the first one. Like I said, soundtrack was fantastic. And it was it had this like sadness to it too. Like the world pretty much ends at the end. So hopefully they find a way to, I mean, this is 2, so the world must have been rebirthed somehow.
I need to just play World of Goo.
World of Goo is awesome.
You should.
Well, okay. I literally have
Fantastic music.
I literally
Yeah,
have
I have the record of the soundtrack. I bought the vinyl.
Yeah,
I like it that much.
That's what
Yeah.
you were saying. Yeah. No, I
And
literally
as
have the
Trey's
game.
right, it has a very somber kind of tone to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it has like this, but it has this like this sadness through the whole thing, and it was great. And the whole world is like kind of dying while you're playing the game, so it very much has. But I kind of love that also.
Maybe over the
You have the game, John?
So I literally have the game in my Steam library. I'm not sure whether or not I've downloaded it on the Steam Deck yet or not. So I'm that close to being able to play the thing, and I just still have never done that. So maybe
You could probably use the touchscreen.
maybe over break,
Yeah.
maybe when we go on the break for the intermission for the show, I'll go grab my Steam Deck and see if it's installed and install it. If not,
Okay,
okay.
hopefully we're
I
yeah.
wanted-
So
I wanted
yeah,
to try the game too. I would like to play the game on the original system. I can't, unfortunately, because the way things are, I can't buy
you can't
the
because
game
it was a
on the
Wii.
Wii.
It was a
without-
WiiWare.
It was WiiWare. So
it was one
So
of
it's
the
just
first.
there's
Yeah.
no physical edition of that whatsoever. So there's no way to play it on the Wii if you don't already have it.
you just
on
have
your Wii.
you just have to
So
come
I'll
to my
just get it
house.
on
And,
Switch.
you just have to come to my house and play it on the Wii U because I have it on there. I transferred it from the Wii to the Wii U.
Well, then I know what we're doing next time I get to Chicago.
You can play it with the pointer control, the way it was meant to be.
The way the Dark Lord intended it.
Yes, the way the universe intended it.
The way Good intended it.
There you
okay.
go.
Yeah, that's so bad it's good.
That's a good one. But speaking of good, Fantasy Life finally has a release date. Fantasy Life, the girl who steals time.
You know what? I actually think this looks really cool. It looks like Animal Crossing.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, I thought it was like Stardew meets Animal Crossing meets a little bit of Monster Hunter.
I actually think I might get this. It looks really cool.
I heard a lot of really good things about Fantasy Life on 3DS, and I always kind of wanted to get it, but I never did. But people swore by that game. Like, I heard people say they put like thousands of hours into it. And I mean, friend of the show, I know Fuchsia was a big fan of it and all that. And
is this a remake or is this a new game in the series?
That's the one where your actual friends become like characters in your game, right?
I think so. This is a brand new game. This is a sequel to the 3DS one, I believe. So, but I've heard great things about it.
It looks like Animal Crossing with more of an adventure purpose, and I think that's sort of what I always kind of gathered from playing it. And it came out around a time where there was what was that other game that came out with the demons that were Bill Trinidad ate all the donuts.
Oh, Yokai Watch.
Yeah, it kind of like those. There's like this whole amalgamation of those kind of games that happened all at once on the 3DS. But Fantasy Life always kind of stuck out more to me as something I might want to check out because, yeah, it's like from what I gather, it's sort of like what was the Harvest Moon did? Yeah, the Rogue Factory or
Rune Factory.
Rune Factory. Why am I wanting to say Rogue? It's like Rune Factory to Animal Crossing, right? Sort of.
Kind of, yeah. It's like Animal Crossing, but you can get like whatever. You can get jobs like RPG jobs and all that, which I love RPG jobs. So I've been interested in this one for a while. Like I said, it's
got an interesting title. Like it doesn't sound like something that's going to take off. It sounds like one of those games that people aren't going to quite know what to think of it. Like, what's the name of it again? Like
Fantasy Life.
No, but what's the name? It's like the subtitles like
The Girl Who Steals Time. It almost sounds like the subtitle to like a game.
I was gonna say, that's an anime too, right? The Girl Who Stole Time or something. Or there was a movie I saw that had a similar title.
The Girl with the Time
Professor
Tattoo.
Layton game.
Yeah.
Isn't it made by I thought it was made by Level 5.
How to Steal Your Time.
It's a level 5 game.
So this game doesn't. I'm looking at the Nintendo site for this game. And it doesn't
and
list the price yet.
They made like Professor Layton and stuff, right?
Level 5, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, they also made. I mean, speaking of Yokai Watch, they made Yokai Watch.
Makes sense why I think the name sounds like a Professor Layton game.
But yeah, I thought it looks really cool, and now it's got a release date. So
is this Nintendo exclusive?
I think so.
Yeah,
I would imagine so.
It's not on Steam. I see. If you guys see me grabbing my phone every time we talk about a new game, it's 99% of the time I'm checking Steam
because you only play on your Steam Deck.
That's not true. That's not true. Whenever you think it's a good time for a detour, I'll say that. I don't know if now's the time for that.
No, we gotta get through this.
Yeah.
You're
another Crab's Treasure. I'm interested in this game. I think this looks cool.
We can sit in the dark and talk. Another Crab's Treasure. We've seen this one before, I think, right? The Souls-like thing with the We've seen it in other directs.
We did, and I thought it was interesting. They actually said in this direct, they said the term Souls-like adventure, which Souls-like isn't. It's adapted from. A term adapted from a specific game, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting that they would use that term, and yet they never say Metroidvania, and will never say Metroidvania.
They say Metroidvania, and
I'd say they do.
In the directs,
indie things,
maybe,
yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
the indie things they do. Probably in indie worlds, I would think.
I don't remember them ever saying Metroidvania.
I do like the visual style of this game.
Oh yeah, no, I mean this is one it was one I feel like we've seen it a couple times in other directs or indie worlds or whatever.
I hear Souls-like anymore, because like that game with the fox, what was that game called that we played on the Switch a couple of years ago? You know the game I'm talking about, right? It was like you're the fox, and it kind of looked like Zelda.
Are you talking about Tunic?
Tunic, yeah,
Tunic is great.
Yeah. So when I hear Souls-like anymore, that's the kind of game I'm thinking of when people say this is a Souls-like. It's going to be more like Tunic than Dark Souls.
Sure.
You think this game is going to be more like Tunic than Dark Souls?
Yes,
Maybe. I don't know.
because
gonna be
because
like
it's referring
more
to
cutesy,
another
that kind
game
of
that's
thing,
a
or-
Souls-like.
Oh,
It's not an
gotcha.
actual Souls.
A copy of a copy.
It's like
Exactly.
everything.
Exactly.
It's like everything that you like dodge in now is a Souls-like game.
Yep.
It seems like that's what it is. But yeah,
Well, it's
coming
also
out.
if you like die, you have to go and pick your loot back.
Oh, you have to go
which
get
is
your
it?
stuff.
Which is in Minecraft, but they don't call that a Souls-like.
I mean, it's also in fucking Shovel Knight, and yeah, they don't call that a Souls-like either. So I mean, I don't know.
No, if Mega Man like is not a term, it needs to be.
Yeah, right.
It is.
I would agree with that.
Another Crab's Treasure is coming out on April 25th of this year. So
Did you
there
guys
go.
change your lighting over there because
so-
we started talking about Souls
No,
likes?
no,
it
that
just
that
automatically like shut off.
No,
Or-
that would-
It got really dark over
I think
there.
John's, like,
they're-
got a
they're all-
timer or
They're underlit
something.
now, and there's
Yeah.
a brick wall behind them.
We
and it
have-
just looks very like we're about to host a cable access horror show.
This is
well, we are hosting it.
Or
I thought-
stand-up
wait a minute,
comedy.
You mean we're not hosting a cable access horror show right
this
now?
is Nintendomain After Dark in here right now.
No,
This
so
isn't that much different than
Which
a
is
cable
when-
access
which is
show,
when we normally
to be
record.
honest.
we have automatic lights in certain parts of the house, and it just happens
Probably
to go
I
off.
figure it's a timer. We'll
Yeah.
fix it in the break. Penny's Big Breakaway. That was on my bingo card too. This game I've been wanting this game for a while, and I bought it today because
Looks good.
Oh, score.
because it was
This was made by the same people that did Sonic Mania.
Sonic Mania.
Sonic Mania. Yeah, right. I've heard.
I couldn't buy it; it was too expensive. For
I
me.
heard
$30.
I heard great things about it, and I was just it was a whole like spontaneous buy. I was like, I haven't played it yet, just because I was working today and I just haven't had time to. But I really want to give it a try. And
Looks
so
really good.
I heard it runs good. A Switch Up already did a little like impressions thing of it, and they said they liked it. So I'm excited to play it and
That's cool.
bring back more yo-yo based platformers. Come on, we don't have enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
I was on the
Well,
fence about this game, but actually this trailer kind of put me over the edge. I thought, wow, I got like some Mario Galaxy meets Sonic vibes for this. This looks like
Definitely.
even the music sounds like Sega farty music.
Sega.
They're
Sega
definitely
farty
leading
music.
into. They're definitely leading into like the Sega vibe.
I was hoping they would use the whoever what was their
T.
name?
Lopes.
Yeah, T Lopes, right? Who did the intro for Sonic Mania, because that song was really good.
Well, and the original, the parts of Sonic Mania that's original too, right? Like Studiopolis Zone.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure that's all T Lopes.
It's Hyper Potions.
Mhm.
That's the song. That was the Hyper Potions is the band that did the intro to Sonic Mania. Hopefully that's on there. It came out today. Hooray! Suika game or Suika game.
Suika game.
I've never played this game, but people like it. It's really cheap.
I actually bought this game and I bought the multiplayer version as well.
Oh, okay. Can you play online, or can you only play?
I don't know yet because I haven't played multiplayer. I've only played the single player version.
I just know it's really cheap and people really like it, but there's not a whole lot to it. Is what I heard. Like, well, not
There's
a whole
really
lot of
not.
replayability, I guess.
Is the original game?
No,
Is the original game called My Suika Watermelon Game?
I think
No,
so.
there's a rip-off game on there. There's another rip-off game which came after the fact, after this became a popular viral thing.
Oh, okay.
The original's just called Suika game. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like it reminds me a little bit, to be honest, it reminds me a little bit of Spanky's Quest, which is actually on SNES Online. And that's where you're like
I remember that
turning
game.
these balls into different types of fruit and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I played
Or
that
the
game.
actually you're turning these fruits into different type of balls or whatever. But in this game, you're actually like evolving fruits. Like you touch two cherries together, they become a strawberry. You touch two strawberries together, they become like a bunch of grapes. Two grapes together become a nectarine. Two nectarines become an orange. Two orange become a lemon. Like it sounds dumb, but like when you're just dropping stuff from the top and they're kind of merging together, and this it becomes really addictive, and it's actually super relaxing too because there's no time limit or nothing. You're at least in the single player mode. You're just trying to fit as many of these like roundish fruits into the box as possible without the box spilling over. So you end up like inadvertently setting up combos because it's entirely physics based, like how the balls move around when you drop them from the top. So, I played this game for quite a while today. I'm surprised how long I played it because when you get a good combo going, it's very satisfying. And I look forward to playing the 2-player mode because I think Shauna will like it as well.
It's basically like Tetris, but the pieces are all round and there's physics.
Yeah, it's
Kind of,
it's
but
very
different,
basic. It's
right?
like if
Yeah.
you were just filling if you had a bunch of different size bouncy balls and you were dropping them into like a giant like tube. how they would like displace each other and change. Like now imagine like when you see like bubbles like merging into each other and stuff when you're like making bubbles and chemistry. Like it's very satisfying in a very like weird like human way where you just like seeing like these things merge into each other. And you could also set up the little cherries will like fall and then they'll merge, and they'll like when they become bigger they like push stuff out of the way, and that's where the physics lie in the game. Besides like just dropping down, you're also like trying to push stuff into other things. And at first it feels really random and like there's no strategy, but after a while you'll just be like, oh, this actually just makes sense with physics. Like I want these things to join up so that these things fall down and then join up and then push this out of the way. And yeah, I was surprised how fun this game actually is. It's very like there is like a tutorial mode, which is also like included in every one player mode. You can like go through the tutorial and it's like 3 steps. It's just so anybody could understand this game.
It is. I mean, we're getting to a point where it's really hard to think of novel twists on Tetris, but this really does seem both Tetris and very, very unique.
I think it was.
I think Spanky's Quest, like, it's so weird to compare it to that, but that's the closest thing I come to with like how the evolution of fruits makes sense in that game, because there's like a whole like little a sphere that's, or like a circle that's shown at all times on the screen. That's how the fruits evolve when they like merge. And has anybody played that? I think it's called 2016, that game where you're like moving the numbers together and there's
2048.
2048. Yeah. It's like 2048, but with physics.
Okay.
That's a great way to describe it.
Okay.
And you're only ever joining 2 of one thing, but they become the next multiple of that thing once they touch.
Yes, but with 2488, the combinations make sense. I mean, 512 and 512 make 1020, 1024. In real life, you put 2 cherries together, you're not going to get a strawberry ever.
Exactly.
Depends
now, I put
depends on how you do
2
it.
strawberries together and I got a bunch of grapes, but
You gotta
I was actually eating mushrooms.
you gotta have the right touch or whatever. Yeah. No.
Did anyone else try the pepper grinder demo?
I haven't.
Yes, I played all the way through it.
That was great.
Oh, did
I
you?
played all the way through it.
I think it looks great. I unfortunately had like no time at all to play any of these games, but I did make sure and download all of them. I'm like staying at a hotel right now, and for some reason my Switch cannot connect to the hotel Wi-Fi, so I had to use the hotspot for my phone. So I took my Switch like with me to work just to make sure it downloaded everything, but I didn't really. Actually, there was actually a couple games that I played before we started, which I'll talk about when we get to it later. But I didn't get to play this yet. But yeah, I downloaded there was a ton of demos. Downloaded a bunch of demos. I bought a couple things. But yeah, Pepper Grinder looks cool. Like I do think it looks neat. It comes out at the end of March.
I like it.
28th.
Yeah. I played it for about 15 minutes. Jeremy, you have more of an impression than I do, but I think.
Well, I played all the way through it. I got to where the demo's over because I liked it so much. I played it all the way through.
Oh, nice.
Hoping to play a boss, but I never got to a boss.
I think that it just controls so smoothly. I love platformers that just feel silky smooth and seamless. Like you can just get creative with your movement. That's what I get with
it. Has kind of a novel control scheme where you have a drill, but guess what game it reminded me of? Drill Dozer.
Yeah, I was going to say it kind of looks like Drill Dozer.
It reminded me of Drill Dozer, but you don't have to go through the gears, which was kind of a pain in the ass in that game, but it made sense because they had the Rebel Cart. You were kind of like going through gears to increase your speed and your destruction. But in this, you're just a drill, and your drill can like destroy most enemies, and then it also like propels you through the scenery. And the scenery, like when you go through like the dirt like reconstructs. So you can just keep going through like routes through the same dirt. So you're essentially like making these like really like windy sort of paths for yourself and avoiding obstacles and stuff. And you have a little boost function you can hit where will make you like jump higher when you like leave like one chunk of dirt to another. And it's really fun. I really like it. Like once you get the hang of the controls, it's a very like zen game once you kind of get that.
Feels like a speedrunner type of game. But not so. But I don't mean that in an exclusive way. I think like anybody can jump in and play this game and have fun with it. But it feels like for those who want a little bit more, they're going to be looking for the little shortcuts and racing to the end so you can shave off a few seconds here and there.
definitely.
Yeah, I really liked it. I played all the way through because I was hoping for a boss. I wanted to see what a boss would be like in this game. I was actually really excited. And sadly,
No bosses.
spoiler alert, there's no boss in the demo, but it
I
does let you
kinda
play
like that,
through
though.
like 4 levels.
I definitely want
I
to try
get the
it.
impression that the bosses are going to be big and epic and impressive and all that. Because very shortly into the demo, you'll get to this sort of open area, but you notice in the background there's just like a giant walking in the background.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that guy is or what he's going to do, but it just sort of gave me a hint to like, oh, there's something a little bit bigger going on.
A little environmental storytelling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool. Coming out at the end of March. I'm definitely intrigued. One game that everybody's been pretty much crazy about because it's an awesome game. Pocket Card Jockey Ride On.
Right on.
Which is the
I
sequel to
bought
Pocket
it.
Card Jockey. And this was actually an Apple arcade game. And now it's on Switch. Pocket Card Jockey was amazing on 3DS. Like, it was definitely like, one of the best 3DS games.
I didn't realize it came out in 2013.
Yeah, it's pretty old, but I don't know what this version is. But I'm sure it's not that much different. I'm sure you still die at the beginning, right? And you have to.
So far, it's the same game.
Yeah, it's the same thing, right? Actually, you know what? I did play it on Apple when I had Apple Arcade for a second. I did play this game just for a little bit. But yeah, I'm excited. I bought it because I really like the 3DS game, even though I'm not very good at it. But I like playing it.
I like it.
I mean, I can only get like so far. It got to the point where I would lose, and then your horse gets killed, and then you got to get a different one, and
Yeah.
But yeah, it's awesome.
I just got to my
try it
second
out.
horse. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, because I know you can like breed your horses later and try to make better ones.
But I bought this one immediately just because of how much we've all kind of wished this would come back to Nintendo consoles. Like, it's such a good game, and Game Freak doesn't often make games that aren't Pokemon. So
yeah.
it's like you got to support this one. And it's really good.
That was another thing that was
rumored. Talk
rumored.
about the game. I don't really know. Like, you give me like the elevator pitch. What is this game?
You're racing horses, but you follow the rules of solitaire.
Yeah, you race horse by way of solitaire. This is the way it works.
Because you literally die, and then the angel says to you, like, in order to not go to heck, he actually says heck, you have to, since I'm like bringing you back from the dead, you have to win the derby. But the main character is so bad at the derby that he actually like died while he was like training because he doesn't even know how to ride a horse, and the horse killed him. So he's like, well, you know what? What's something you are actually good at? And the main character is like, I really like solitaire. He's like, okay, now when you win the derby, it's going to be through the powers of solitaire. And that's how the game works.
It's great.
It's an interesting
Charging
mechanic for
horses.
sure.
Yeah.
Race horses by way of solitaire. I mean, there's a whole bunch of extra stuff like where you have to like where you like pass in certain ways. You have to like hug the inside for the turns. Or at least that was what it was like.
Yeah,
for
you move
for
your
3DS.
you move your horse to like certain spots.
Or you
in,
want to
like,
catch the updraft and all that, or whatever.
and you want to
where
like, or you just want to relax for a bit to build up your stamina.
So is it exactly like solitaire, and they just like slapped some horse racing mechanic?
No.
no,
on top of it, or what?
It's literally just up and down. The suits don't even matter. It's just you're going up and down through the face, like all the cards through the face card. Once you get to a king, you can go back to ace and then back again. So you're just going up and down, and you're trying to like eliminate as many cards as once based on the one that's in the discard pile. So it'll be like you got a 3, so you can click on a 4, then a 5.
Oh yeah,
You
you
click
can
on
go
another 4,
backwards
then you
and
click on a 3,
forwards.
2 ace, then click on another 2. And you're just trying to get as many in a row, and that like gives you more of a bonus. And there's a lot of randomosity to it, but it's also strategy.
You can go both ways. You can go like forward and backwards. Like if it's a 3,
Mhm.
you can play a 2 and then play another 3, like that sort of thing. But yeah, it's not like Spider Solitaire with horse stuff in the background or anything like that. It's definitely very much its own game. And you're not even really like playing solitaire. You're like kind of loosely playing solitaire.
Yeah, the
But
suits,
also doing
as far
these
as I can
other
tell, the
racing
suits don't
things.
matter at all.
Yeah.
The thing, okay, so this is St. John totally missing the point. But the thing that I can't get past is the sentence, racing horses by way of solitaire. That is a sentence that I thought would never exist in the history of humanity.
That's why it's great.
I know
That's
that's
ridiculous,
that is
yeah.
what makes it so magical.
No,
Yeah.
it's really good. I highly recommend it. It's an awesome game. I'm glad it's on Switch and it's not
I also
stuck
just
on
like-
3DS anymore.
the way the main character talks, he's just a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Or it could be like a she as well. You can choose your character, but like they're just an idiot where like they get asked a question and like your selected responses are all stupid. Like you don't know what the hell you're doing, but you just know you want to win the Kentucky Derby someday or whatever the Derby of this. I guess it's not called the Kentucky Derby, but you just happen to be at the racetrack and you're like, I'm just going to win this Derby eventually. And that's sort of where you start.
For sure. And it came out today and we got it. Well, Jeremy and I got it.
And there is also a demo if you just want to try it out.
How
cool.
How much is the game?
$15.
It's free if you play a demo, but it's 15. It was $5 when it came out on the 3DS. So
I thought it was like $7 or something like that on 3DS, but it was pretty cheap.
Okay,
but this is the sequel, whatever version. Trust me, you'll be worth it. Like I put
totally worth it.
many hours into the 3DS.
I had a great time. The music's great. It's just such a fun, and it is kind of chill. But there are moments where you're like, oh shit, I need to like go now.
You can actually pause it now, right? Because the original 3DS one, you could not pause it. Like
this does have a pause.
If you're in the middle of a race and you closed your 3DS, you automatically lose. It's that intense. Like if you were to close your 3DS, you would lose the race. So they made sure that you had to, you can't pause. So if you got to pee or whatever, you have to.
This one does have a pause feature.
So
if you suck it up.
So if you have to piss, you're shit out of luck, is what you're saying.
You got to pee and play at the same time.
Okay. All right.
If you need to piss like a racehorse, your racehorse is going to get turned to glue.
I know because I was playing it at like when I was in a waiting room somewhere, and I got called and I closed the 3DS and I lost automatically. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I told you that at the beginning of the game. Anyway, let's move quickly through the montage like they did.
The montage. Snufkin
Melody of Moomin Valley. That's the word salad right there.
I'm interested in this game. I think it looks pretty. It looks beautiful. It looks like a storybook brought to life, and it's an adventure game. I dug in a little bit more, and it's actually based on because I thought one of the characters looked familiar. I'm like, I thought I saw that before. It's based on a book series called The Moomins, which actually started in 1945. So this is an old series, an old IP.
That was a good decade for literature.
Sure, and it seems like a good time to bring it back for the Switch. Who knows what brought this on, but this looks like a good game to me. I'm interested in it.
Couple weeks away too on this one, 2D. It definitely looks pretty with the 2D cutout, whatnot.
The next one after this, that is the EA game that I did that before.
Tale of Zenzara, whatever.
Tales of Kenzara Zhao.
The guy from Raised by Wolves, which you can't watch anymore because it's been removed from HBO Max for I don't know why. This great sci-fi show that we watched in the pandemic. One of the actors presented this at the Game Awards, and it looks. I don't know. It's a. I don't know. You describe it, John. I think you know more about it.
I thought it looked like Prince of Persia, but maybe set in Africa.
Oh,
that's what I got from it.
Yeah, I think I have this game on my Steam wish list from a while ago. Let me look real quick.
Well, wish list. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think it's out yet on anything, but we have a release date now, right? It's coming out April
23rd, or $18.
It's got a price too.
It is on my wish list. Let's see. Let's see if it releases at the same time. Yeah, April 23rd, 2024. Obviously 2024.
Yeah, I think it was releasing all around. So, yeah, I'm still, I don't know. This one's...
Yeah, I felt it looked like a lot like the current Prince of Persia. Not just the series, but I feel like, that seems like... It looks like very much like that game. But I don't know.
Hopefully it's not as glitchy as that one.
Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Sweep the Board.
So this game I think is kind of funny just because it's a Demon Slayer Mario Party game.
Interesting.
So, yeah, take what you will from that. If I was into Demon Slayer more, I'd get it. But
Demon Slayer's popular, so is Mario Party.
Yeah, so you got. I mean, I like board game stuff, but I don't. I've only seen a few episodes of Demon Slayer. I know it's one of the most popular anime that's out there, but this one looked kind of fun.
It's pretty good,
just because of its. Well, yeah, no, I liked it. We watched like 4 or 5 episodes. We just kind of fell off after that.
August really loves Demon Slayer.
I'm saying it's one of the most popular anime. Like it's up there with One Piece. At least I know in Japan, it's one of the
and like
most
Hunter
watched,
Hunter,
one of the most watched shows. what is like that and like Jujutsu Kaisen were like the most watched anime of last year or whatever.
Oh, but this is $60.
Yeah, it's a lot to throw
That's
down on a Mario Party game.
Well, you have till August.
Does anybody know what Kingdom Come Deliverance is?
I do. I played it very briefly on PC. Actually, the PC we're performing this meeting on. It's kind of like, it feels kind of like Skyrim. I mean, it's that level of detail. Now, I didn't get far enough into the game. to get my own sense of this, but the article I read about it actually kind of puts a little bit of a distaste in my mouth, because it's basically Skyrim with conservative ideology is what I've heard it presented as.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I don't really like the way it looks. I don't know. The art style of it kind of screams generic PC game to me. When I look at it.
Okay, all right.
I want to hear more about conservative ideology in this game, though. Like, are you voting for Trump and trying to cut taxes as a knight?
You're not letting anyone have abortions or ideas of their own.
When I read the article, I was able to internalize all of it, but this is probably 8 years ago that I read that article. So all I remember is the bullet points. I don't really remember the particulars, and I didn't get far enough into the game. I played.
They make sure and tell you constantly that there's only two genders.
When the game starts, you basically are like in this kind of little farm area thing, and I didn't really get past. I mean, I got barely past that. So I don't know. I mean, the fact that it's continued to I don't know. I need to do more research on that. But that at least read an article at the time the game was new on PC that posited that and gave you like tons of examples. So it's a really compelling article. As far as it was probably the big surprise for me of the Direct, though, that like what's the most surprising thing in the Direct for me is probably Kingdom Come. And I mean, it looks good by Switch standards, but it clearly has the Switch Vaseline effect. You know what I mean?
I just thought the art style looked dumb. That's what I got from it.
Well, so the PC I played it on, the PC we're recording tonight on, it has a GTX 1070, which puts it roughly equivalent to an Xbox One X, not Xbox Series X, Xbox One X. And it was...
Yeah, but do the characters still look generic? I mean, it could have like all the sweat in the world, and I'm still not going to think this game looks cool. Because I think all the characters look like the, when you're trying to create a character and you don't do anything, and it's just whatever it gives you. That's what everyone looks like in this game.
Yeah, I think I think I remember that being the case. I mean, it was what you see in the Direct for the Switch version without the Vaseline smeared over top.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, I heard maybe one person talk about this game once, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. But it's coming out in a few weeks, and it's $50. Contra Operation Galaga. We've seen this one before, but now there's a demo for it.
Galuga, yeah, Galaga's the one with ships and space.
I know, but I like calling it Galaga because there's a game called Galaga.
Okay,
and because it's funny. It's like two games in one. Contra and Galaga.
Okay, but now my head's melting trying to figure out how you fuse. Well, I mean, I suppose you just run around the bottom and point your gun up and shoot.
I mean, shooting both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Contra, there's a demo out today. You can play it.
It's either going to be amazing or it's going to be terrible. I mean, I can't see a middle. I mean,
speaking of re-releasing, I guess it's not a 3DS game, but can we just re-release Contra 4 for DS? Like that game, I felt like that was like the best Contra game that came out, like of recent ones that aren't like Alien Wars for Super Nintendo. Like Contra 4 was badass. Like that was a way forward game. And I thought it was really, really good, and it's stuck on DS forever. Like re-release it on something.
There it is.
Oh, Alien Wars.
Well, that's Alien Wars.
So really, really quick on that. Speaking of Contra, the way I got my name St. John, because obviously my real name isn't St. John, is Legacy.
I thought it was Street John.
Yeah, no, that's so funny because the weather radio. There's these two little towns about an hour away from Des Moines called St. Charles and St. Mary. And the weather radio, it's the text to speech thing, and it would call it Street Charles and Street Mary. And I thought, damn, that is actually a very apt description of those towns, like one street town. But no, anyway, Contra Hardcore, Legacy Music Hour, they would periodically say, hey, we're really interested in this game. If any listener would send this to us, that'd be amazing. And part of me aches that I sent them Hardcore because that's worth like $300 now. But part of me doesn't regret it at all because of all the inroads I made through that. But when I sent them the game, Rob F. Switch, one of the hosts, says, started referring to me as St. John. And then when I launched the podcast back in 2017, I initially used my real name, John Wedgeworth. But then people were like, no, you're St. John. You need to be St. John. And so to this day, I'm St. John because of my $300 sacrifice to the Legacy Music Hour.
Yeah, I think you told me that when we went to the used game place.
Yes, I did tell you that, but now I've told the audience. But anyway, the reason that
now everyone knows.
It's relevant because we're talking about Contra.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Contra demo. You can play the demo now. So, hooray. Pentiment, we talked about it earlier.
Play now, Pentiment.
I really want there to be a game called Protra where you're just like helping people.
All I've heard is just people say that Pentiment was really cool. I don't really understand exactly what it is, but yeah, the animation looks cool. I think intrigued by it.
It kind of looks like it's got something Disco Elysium about it, where it's like I don't quite understand, but I will once I play it.
It looks like what it looks like to me is Kingdom Come Deliverance done with paper and pen. In terms of the art style,
sure. I haven't played Kingdom Come Deliverance, so I don't.
Well, but we were just talking
about
the
silence.
Oh, the one earlier that I've already forgotten about.
Yeah, the one that you said was generic.
Look at them though; they look so simple.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So generic, you forgot about it 2 minutes later.
I totally did because that shows how much it's in my brain. It's not at all. But and then we did 2 more things. It's like and 2 more things, kind of interesting. Added some stuff to NSO today.
Rareware.
Some more rare stuff. Actually, I thought it was.
I know it really was kind of like.
I thought it was just going to be
rare replay.
I thought it was just going to be rare replay, but it's
So
actually the main thing. It's actually John has it on the screen here. The thing that kind of like confused me.
Yeah, Blastcore, you love it.
So the way it starts is it has the like 3D N64 thing come out. That's the beginning of Killer Instinct 2 on 64, like of KI Gold. Like, it showed the intro of KI Gold, but that game's not on here. So I was really confused. I was like, why did you show that if it's not even on here? And all we get is
Did they not
Killer
use that
Instinct
on,
1.
like, Donkey Kong 64 or Perfect Dark?
No, but what they showed was from Killer Instinct 2. The spinning 64 and the music is from the intro of Killer Instinct
Even the music,
Gold.
okay.
Specifically. Like, it is... because it plays the Killer Instinct music.
I didn't know there was a sequel of Killer Instinct on the
it was like a launch window 64 game.
Oh, you're talking about
I remember that because they compared it to the arcade version at the time. There were actually
it was a lot closer.
Well, there was actually one or two graphic features that were superior in the N64 version.
Oh yeah, possibly.
Yeah, I don't remember the particulars.
I played the shit
5,000 years ago.
I played the shit out of KI Gold. I was just really, I thought we were going to get both of them because they showed the intro to that at the beginning, and I'm like, where's the 64 game? But no, those are the games that I played before we recorded. I played Killer Instinct 1 because I played a lot of Killer Instinct when I was in high school, and I still remember some combos. I can still do the spinal combos where you turn into the other character that you're fighting as, which is pretty awesome. Kind of like a Shang Tsung type thing. And I played Blastcore, which is one of my favorite Rare games ever. I think it's an incredibly underrated.
I own it because of you.
Oh yeah, I probably did. I think it's a very underrated game, and I would even say that I think that it's aged better than Perfect Dark and GoldenEye. I'll say it right now. I think
that's what it has going for it. It's a simple game, and
how about you shut up?
I'm correct.
I'm just kidding
on that.
No,
I mean it's simple, but it's simple, but it's complicated.
In an arcadey way, it feels like an arcade game. Like if you put that game in an arcade, it would feel at home. I mean that in the best way.
Sure, yeah.
It's not like say GoldenEye or Perfect Dark, which are now like ancestors in a genre that has moved forward.
Yeah,
there's no genre of Perfect Dark, of Blastcore to compare it to now. 25
Not really.
years later.
Blastcore is very arcadey.
I mean, well, it's also like it's very unique too in that way. Like you don't really see a whole lot of it, but I like just the premise of it, where it's like, all right, so there's this truck that has like nuclear waste in it. Anyway, it's a bomb that's going to explode if it hits anything. So destroy everything in front of it so it won't hit anything. And do this across the entire world and also go to the moon at the end.
It's a lot like Rampage in that way. Like it has that similar kind of simple magic. Just go destroy things.
Yeah, except for it has so much more I mean, Rampage gets old after like 2 levels. Thankfully, this game has like 20 different vehicles, plenty of vehicles that you can use. And also there's so much replayability to it. Like, yeah, you destroy the things, but you also find these lights that light up that you can collect, and you're also rescuing scientists. And there's like there's racing levels, and there's like time attack stuff, and there's all these different fucking things. And you can unlock the A-Team van is in there. You can drive that. Like there's all this extra shit. Oh yeah, and you get these giant robots. You get a robot that has a giant fist that punches through buildings, and there's the one that does the butt drop that like flips over and destroys it with his feet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's fucking cool. Or even like the regular truck where you just kind of like spin and you just like swerve into things. Like, that was really cool too. Like, I had a blast with this game. My friend, I remember my friend Caleb bought it when it came out, and I'd always borrow it from him, and then I bought a used copy of it later, and I've beaten it a couple times, and the soundtrack kicks ass too. I mean, just looking at it, you're just like, time to get moving.
See, I remember
the world map song and all that.
The thing I remember is at the end of a level, you have that little lady that talks to you over the intercom or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Now you're trying to impress me.
Yeah. Not a scratch on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it's got a lot of personality in
awesome.
that way. It's very like
Yeah.
For a situation where you're trying to protect the world from a runaway nuclear bomb, it's very upbeat.
Yeah.
It is totally. Well,
That's
I mean, it's a
right.
rare game, and it has an incredible soundtrack. The music's great, and it's super replayable, and you have all these different levels. You want to go through and get golds on everything, so you can unlock more levels, and it's a damn good game. And once I saw that Rare was putting stuff on Nintendo again, like, I was like, please put Blast Core on Switch. Like, please put that on there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. I played that. I had experience playing it, 20 years ago at your house, Trey, but really this is probably the most time that I've gotten to play it was today. And just before, I'd gone through the list of other Rare games that also came out, and I couldn't help but think, I see the direct line from Blast Core back to RC Pro-Am. Like, it feels like an evolution of RC Pro-Am in the way that it controls. It
definitely, I'd say definitely in the controls.
The DNA is there.
Yeah. Which I guess that can be a little tricky, but I think once you figure it out, it's fun.
That's one of those that's like, it just clicks. I never understand how I understand RC Pro-Am, but I just do after about 10 seconds. If I stop and think about the controls, I'm like, then I get jumbled up, almost like in the way, like if you ever play drums or something and you think about doing the beat, then you might skip a beat by accident.
Mm-hmm.
If I think about it too hard, RC Pro-Am, then I mess it up. But if I just like let go, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't play that yet, but I did update all of my Switch apps that have the new stuff on it. And what was it? Battletoads Battle Maniacs. I actually have the cartridge of that game, the Super Nintendo game. So
I'm actually surprised they didn't do the Battlefields versus Double Dragon.
There might have been a
That's what I
licensing
thought.
issue.
could have been a
because
licensing
Tydos.
thing, and also this game
this
game is better than that game, so it's better to have this.
Oh,
one
I
on
don't
there.
know. Shots fired because I love.
I could not get into Battletoads and Double Dragon. I never liked it. I thought the graphics were not good compared.
I just
to
remember there was a
NES
time where my
games.
parents were like, "Do you want this game or do you want They're like, "Do you want Street Fighter 2 or Battletoads versus Double Dragon?" And I chose Street Fighter 2.
You chose
Battletoads
correctly.
Double Dragon is the more expensive game. I think it's the most expensive NES game that I own, but it's like a lost gem.
Well, this was on SNES, so maybe there was an
SNES.
NES version.
There were two different. They came out at the same time. Maybe that's why I didn't like it.
Well, and there was a Genesis
because the
version
Super
of Battletoads
Nintendo
Double
game
Dragon.
looked like an NES game, and the characters were so small. I don't know.
I like the NES version, but we're talking about Battletoads and Battle Maniacs on Super Nintendo, which is out today on the Switch.
Yeah,
Right.
which looks good.
I played it for a little bit. I need some clarity. Is this the same as the arcade game, or no?
No.
It's different from the arcade game. The
The
arcade game, I think, is more violent.
It's not. Yeah, it's not the arcade. I mean, it's its own sequel.
It's its own game, but it's not the arcade game, but it kind of follows a similar pattern to the. I mean, it's kind of a Double Dragon style brawler featuring the Battletoads, which is kind of like the arcade game, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then our final thing was Endless Ocean.
We didn't mention
Luminous.
Snake Rattle and Roll, though. Let's mention Snake Rattle and Roll real quick.
You just did.
That's one thing we did talk about.
I don't know what that game is, so go ahead.
It's fun. I tried it. It's a 3D platformer on the NES. I mean, an isometric platformer. sort of in the vein of Marble Madness, but I think it's pretty creative and fun so far. I don't know if I've ever tried it before, but I was impressed by it.
I've never played it. I haven't played any of the NES stuff, but cool, more rare stuff. Endless Ocean. Endless Ocean I really liked. I have Endless Ocean 2 for Wii, and that was how I got the Wii Speak, that really shitty microphone that had a speaker inside of it.
Me too. And exactly one time to talk to you, and then I never used it again.
We used it once. It's a very tranquil, cozy game where you swim around and take pictures of fish.
This looks really, really good.
I never played. I got 2. I always wanted to play it more, but now this is a new one. It's not even a remake of those Wii ones, so that's cool. And there's more multiplayer now. 30 players online.
30 players.
I think originally it was like 2 or something like that. So cool.
So if ever your ocean was too peaceful, you could have 30 people swimming around with you.
Awesome.
Well, so I mean, this looks like a really good game. When I say this looks really good, I mean I don't only mean this looks like a really good game. I mean, by the standards of Nintendo Switch graphics capability, this looks really
Pretty
good visually.
It's really pretty. And this one was hinted at from PRO by the dolphin stuff. But yeah, I think we should take a break. It's coming out May 2nd. But let's take a break and then we'll come back and talk about the rest of the Japanese stuff and whatever we've been playing.
Cool.
Hey, you.
It's me, Mario.
Yeah, you. Subscribe to our Patreon to hear our bonus shows, which happen every month.
I'm tired.
Tired of all the big corporate podcasts spoon-feeding you the same old video game news on every single show?
Spaghetti. Ravioli.
Then expand!
With Nintendomain Expansion Pack.
It's us talking about old games that were important to us. It's us interviewing people that we meet at conventions. And heck, it's live shows from those same conventions. It's basically everything you could want that Nintendomain ever made.
Here we go! And it's just $1 a month.
That's less than a bad indie on the eShop.
It's $12 a year, which is less than Nintendo Switch Online.
Thank you so much for subscribing to our Patreon and supporting Nintendomain.
Just go to patreon.com/Nintendomain podcast and, hey, Mario, let go. Whoa! He's throwing us back to the show.
So long, Bowser.
Patreon.com/Nintendomain podcast.
Game over.
Go for it.
Back from the break, and we need to talk about the ultimate betrayal of Nintendo, and that is on the Nintendo Japanese Direct. A little game called Mother 3 has been released on the Switch, but only in Japan and only in Japanese.
That's right. Nobody wants it over here anyway.
The takes on Twitter were like pretty hilarious. I was kind of reading them all day, where people being like,
Motherfucker 3.
where there's like the gif of you like cutting up imaginary food on a plate, and it's like, this is what American Mother 3 fans get. And it's like just stuff like that, where it's like, Nintendo hates you, this game is never getting translated, like all this different stuff. And it's like,
I would say especially because obviously everybody knows you can just download, you can just have an eShop account like in Japan on your Switch. Like anybody can get Mother 3 now.
yeah.
So like
So they're like, there you go.
it's so dumb. Like they had to have known there was going to be some sort of
They made plushes too. They made like new plushes for the game. Like they're celebrating
No,
Mother
they
3
know.
in our
They
face.
know.
We could get Mother 3 if we have the access to Japanese stuff, but the problem is
We do.
Yeah, the problem is Nihongo wa hanemasen. We don't speak Japanese.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a copy of translated Mother 3. You know, that because Earthbound fans translated it.
You can also just go to GameFAQs.com and they've got translations you can go through piece by piece.
Also, they sent the translation directly to Nintendo and said, "Here, we did this. Why don't you just use it and release the game?"
Yeah, but that's not available to me.
They probably hit him back with a lawsuit or something.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like the ultimate fuck you. Still,
Do you want to? No, it's not the ultimate fuck you. They threw some more salt in the wound just like a few hours ago by releasing new Earthbound Beginnings Switch Online icons.
Oh wow!
So yes, you can get your Switch Online
That's
So
that's
Earthbound
hilarious.
Beginnings icon.
So
as
it
of
was
today.
It was the penultimate.
Not Mother
fuck
3.
you.
I
They
saw
put
a whole
didn't they
bunch
put
of
Earthbound Beginnings on the Switch?
it's on there. Yeah, you can get that. I don't know if it's on Switch or not. No, I think it is. But I saw a whole lot of people posting that GIF. The when Robot Chicken did the animation for E3 for Nintendo, where Reggie kills that guy who asks about Mother 3. Like I saw a lot of reposts of that too. So yeah, whatever. Yeah, Nintendo hates everyone who loves Mother 3 that's not Japanese.
I mean, they knew they were poking the beehive when they released that in Japan. So it's kind of on them if they get any backlash at this point. They fucking know what's up.
The ultimate paradox. Nintendo, the most lovable and hateable company in all of video games.
As John was saying a couple episodes ago, buy yourself an Apple Vision Pro for $3,500 and put it on your head. Hopefully it has a translation app on there. It probably doesn't, because I don't think it has anything on there. But look at your Switch and maybe it'll translate to Japanese for you as you play the game. Or just get your phone and tape it to your face and just look at it with Google Translate.
Google Glass got shut down, but it was Apple Vision Pro before Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, and maybe if this Apple Vision Pro really takes off, it'll feed back. Maybe there'll be a Samsung one. Maybe there'll be heaven forbid, maybe a Google one. We'll see. We don't know.
I think it'll be implemented into prescription lenses. That's
We'll
when it'll
we'll see.
Eventually we'll all be wearing those and we'll forget what we look like.
I was gonna say we'll see, but we'll see with a big appliance on our face.
We'll forget what we actually look like because those eyes are fake.
But
Fake.
but Trey, for people like us, that's probably a blessing.
They're computer generated. Speak for yourself.
Why? You don't like your eyeballs? I think you both have amazing eyeballs.
I do have amazing.
I like my
you're
eyeballs.
right.
There was also a game called Guitar
I like
Life.
to put all of your eyeballs in my mouth and just kind of swish them around.
Yeah.
I hope
okay.
that's not weird.
That's no, totally not weird.
Did
God,
you-
not weird at all.
Did
Cool.
you see the guitar game for the Japanese Direct, the Guitar Life? It's
I
like
did see that, and it looks like
It's a big plastic thing that you stick a Joy-Con on.
Well, it
and
looks
it
like
teaches you how to play guitar.
it looks like an instrument. I don't want to call it like a. No, it reminds me of an instrument. John, you may know John Wedgeworth. You may know more than me. It's like a. It's definitely like a button-based instrument, but it's like it kind of looks like half of a guitar. And it's got like all these buttons on. I can't remember what it's called. But that's what it looks like.
Like a guitar.
Well, keytar is the keyboard that you.
No,
Yeah.
not like a keytar. It's got like the little circular buttons on it, kind of
Oh
like.
God,
You know what I'm talking about? It's an electronic instrument.
yeah, I do. Auto
And you
harp.
can
Is
do
it auto
like
harp?
samples and loops,
No,
something like that.
no,
No, it's
no.
like
It's not. Auto harp isn't sample based.
It is like an auto harp, though. It is like it's in that family. I think it's like an auto harp, but it's an electronic instrument, and there's like a couple of different Instagram accounts that do really
Well,
cool.
okay, so to the tens and tens of listeners
Covers.
who know what he's talking about,
It's the
please
manual
blow
harp.
it up. Yeah, manual harp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not auto, manual. Yeah, and there was a couple other things. Konami DLC for the baseball game that has Goemon in it. I was just like, hey, more Goemon.
Well, I don't want to skip over the guitar game, but I actually think this looks pretty interesting. I was interested in what was that game Rocksmith from Ubisoft a couple of years
Which
back.
I had that on
cool.
the 360 sets several years back.
Okay,
because it's supposed to
Did you
actually
actually
teach
use
you how to play guitar.
It taught me how to play. I can play Blitzkrieg Bop. That taught me how to play that.
You know what, though? We already have something like this. We have Rocksmith, which actually uses an actual guitar.
Well, yeah, that's what. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, right. And this is
That's what we were just talking about.
this is just more plastic guitars for you to put in with your Guitar Hero stuff.
But
That's why I thought it looked like an auto harp because it had like
There
it
is
has like a XY axis kind of thing going on.
well, there was a like a Casio thing, and maybe I'm getting on to what you were asking about, but it's it's you play it like a guitar, but it's
a digital guitar.
It's a digital guitar, yeah, and it's got a plastic body that's shaped not exactly like this guitar, but kind of vaguely reminiscent of it. And yeah, that's when I saw until I saw the neck was so short. When I saw just the body part and the very like high frets of the neck, I thought, wow, this really does remind me of this Casio thing. And I was like, oh God, I bet you anything that's what Jeremy was talking about this whole time.
I have this.
It's probably that.
I have this Star Wars toy container that looks like a big gray blaster. This thing looks like that. It's like this big gray blaster that opens up and you can put your Star Wars toys in it. It looks just like this thing. So maybe I could play
You could
guitar
open
with
it up and put your Star Wars toys.
Okay,
If you wanted
so
to do that.
so Jeremy, look up Casio DG20 digital electric guitar and see if this is what you were talking about.
You say DG20?
DG20. I looked it up. I did a Google search and I found an eBay thing for it. I bet you-
No,
G20.
That's not it. That's not it.
That's not it. Okay.
That's not it. But it's
That's kind of what
something
I was picturing,
more
actually.
contemporary.
I was picturing this guitar that you showed, John.
I think we can move on from the direct.
Okay.
I do want to mention that I think that guitar actually looks like a pretty nice product for what it is.
Yeah, I'm
Like, I don't
surprised
think it
it's
looks
not
too cheap.
coming
I think
out
it looks actually pretty good
worldwide,
quality.
right? Yeah,
Well, I agree, and it also looks like it's designed to be like functional but minimal, like not a giant like party favor, but actually like we're gonna learn some shit on this thing. It's like
Yeah.
you can take it along with you, and you can like practice in the hotel room or whatever.
Also, notably, it's not made out of cardboard.
yeah. That's right. This could have easily been a Labo thing. We could have put it together for cheaper and learned how to play guitar with. Maybe this was a Labo idea that just didn't make it because they didn't think anybody was going to buy that. So they
Until I
switched
learn
it
how to digest
plastic.
cellulose, I'll never be made out of cardboard.
Oh, we're all slowly being made out of cardboard. Actually, well, no, we're actually all slowly being made out of plastic, but
Yeah,
cardboard's
we can't
probably in there somewhere.
digest cellulose. That's part of our gut.
Yeah.
I hope they bring it here. I would get it for the right price.
Yeah, it looks interesting, I guess. But let's move on from the direct. John Wedgeworth, we've been kind of hinting at it for a while, but you have a game that I know John is really interested in.
Hinting about it. We've come right out and said it.
Well, anyway, talk about it. Tell us about Arzette.
Let's talk about this jewel.
Yes. Oh God, this thing is so good. It released at 11 p.m. Central Time. So it's the closest thing I've done to attending a midnight release since the Switch. It's just, so in order to appreciate this game, though, you have to be familiar with the CDI Zelda games, Link the Faces of Evil, Zelda the Wand of Gamelon. And those games are notoriously atrocious. I mean, like...
There's a third one, too, right?
Well, there was a third one, but it was a very different kind of game.
It's
So
very different.
That
right?
was that the one where Zelda was the
well,
hero, or
Zelda's...
was that Wand of Gamelon?
Zelda's both. It's Zelda's adventure is what you guys are talking about, but it's like kind of a
FMV.
proto CGI. I mean, the characters were made on some supercomputer and CGI, and then just the sprites of that were ported over to the game, kind of like Donkey Kong Country. But it's a top-down Zelda game featuring Zelda as the protagonist, and I have never played that one. It costs $500 to buy it on eBay, so I probably never will. What I've heard about Zelda's Adventure is that it's even worse than the side-scrolling CDI Zelda games. But in Link the Faces of Evil and Zelda the Wand of Gamelon, they're the same game, different worlds, different. It's not different stuff going on, but in terms of the gameplay engine, the graphics, the sound, they're twins. They're twin games. And the gameplay mechanic is terrible. Now, what's really cool is the music, and not the cutscene graphics are notoriously atrocious, but the world map and when you're playing in the levels and stuff, the graphics are like this beautiful hand painted stuff. It really is beautiful. It really is beautiful. And then you have characters that you can interact with. You touch them with your weapon, and then the game freezes for a second, and then you've got this cutscene that just plays right over the background, and it's horribly animated, horribly drawn, horribly voice acted, horribly scripted. I mean, like, I'm not a porn. I don't watch porn, but the stereotype of porn, it's probably like Shakespeare compared to some of the stuff that happens in these Zelda games, right? You know what I mean? But there was something really charming about it to me growing up. I had an uncle that had a CDI and had the Zelda games, and my brother and I, being Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis kids, would play these things, and they felt like next level stuff. We didn't even notice the game was garbage because we were just so impressed with the tech. And also, they're the only games besides Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link that are 2D side-scrolling Zelda games. So they're kind of like the illegitimate bastard stepchildren of Zelda 2 in lieu of having never gotten legitimate Zelda 2 children. You know what I mean? So, but you have that motif, and then some game designer like, hey, I love this. I want to make a tribute to this. And so out comes Arzette. The biggest difference between Arzette and the CDI Zelda games is when you strip away the veneer, when you strip away the story, the visuals, all that stuff, underneath it all on the CDI are two mechanically horrible games. Like, you don't have a jump button. You have to press up to jump, right? And it's just really slow. You know, you press forward and you have to wait 2 seconds before your shield goes back up, and in that time someone could throw something at you and hit you. You know, the gameplay is garbage. Underneath the veneer, Arzette is a fully modern, sleek, beautifully designed game. Right? The gameplay is 1,000. The mechanical gameplay is the one thing that didn't make it from the CDI Zelda games, and thank God it didn't. But in terms of the aesthetic, it is 100% CDI Zelda. Like, the cutscenes are animated the exact same way. They're voice acted the exact same way. In fact, they even brought back some of the voice actors from the CDI Zelda games to do some of these cutscenes. It's that faithful. The backgrounds in the world map and in the parts that you actually play are hand painted, just like the CDI Zelda games. So it's like, other than the gameplay quality, other than the names and faces and venues that take place, this is fucking CDI Zelda. Hard, full stop. And if you have any interest in CDI Zelda games, this thing is the best tribute to something I've ever seen in my life, probably. I was reading an article.
Praise.
Yeah, no, I know that's very high praise, but I was reading an article about it, and the headline was something to the effect of Arzette, the CDI Zelda game that you can laugh with rather than at. Something to that effect. And that's very apt. That's very true. But it's a fun game.
So it's like an elbow in the ribs to people who appreciate the medium, and
it's
maybe like in retrospect it wasn't great, but it was good job. Good try.
Well, okay, no, it's not quite that, but imagine like some really horrible campy movie. Like, let's say Manos: The Hands of Fate. Okay, just pick an atrociously horrible movie, right? But someone ironically loves that movie. Like, it's so bad that it's good for this person, right? And so they basically go make a tribute to it. That's what Arzette is. So, but it's a really good game. There's
you said that the platforming part is actually good, right? Even though the cutscenes are obviously supposed to be bad, but the platforming part, the gameplay part is good.
Yes, the gameplay part is good.
They didn't forget to make a good game.
They made a good game. Yes, that's the only part where they break from tradition, is they actually made a good game.
I was going to say, do you ever feel within the game that they held themselves back from doing things well to be true to the source material?
No. Well, unless it was a love letter joke. No. Mm-hmm. But one thing that's true of Arzette, and also was true of the CDI Zelda games, is that there is almost a Metroidvania element to it, right? You go to this part at the beginning of the game, only certain parts of the world are open, right? And you go and you do things in this part of the world that open up other parts of the game. And then there are things that you can't access in these parts of the game that you have to come back for later, right? It's kind of a proto Metroidvania, the CDI Zelda games. And Arzette keeps that. So, yeah, the game feels small, but it's a lot bigger than it feels because of that.
I was going to say, since you have to pay money for it, they can't make it like that bad. It should be a solid enough game, because it's like $20, I think. But, they can have the fun stuff, but it still should be, you don't want to spend $20 on something that's like unplayable. As funny as that would be, it's like you should still have something solid in the middle, I think.
Anything bad about Arzette is bad on purpose out of love.
Yeah. I've heard that it might not be as funny if you aren't as familiar with the CDI games, but you are because you have them over there. So
I literally have them.
It's kind of speaking directly to you.
I think
40 feet
you're
away
like the
from me.
best person to be speaking about this particular game because you're in a very small party of people in the world who have actually played the original CDI Zelda games and now has Arzette.
Yes, and okay, even if you were to Google, search the Philips CDI boot up sequence from '93, and then look at the Arzette CDI boot up sequence. And now, to my great shame, I didn't catch this immediately. The name of the company is CDI, SEEDY space EYE.
Yeah, it's like a play on it, right? Like CD, like ooh.
When I saw it in text,
It's like a phonetic
like
spelling.
shady.
It's a phonetics game, right? Yeah, right. So it's like when I saw it in text, I somehow missed it. But then I said it out loud to my wife, trying to explain this thing. And when I heard something pronounced CDI escape my mouth, I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly what it is. It's a nod to the CDI, right? But the way the CDI animated logo thing happens is it's so pitch perfect to the original actual CDI thing. It's if you watch those two things in comparison, then you know exactly what you're in for the entire game of Arzette relative to the CDI games. It's that perfect of a microcosm of what you're in for. So
Yeah, I'm in on this game. I definitely want to get it.
yeah,
I love living in a world where these sorts of like super niche things can exist.
yes.
Right. I
mean,
like looking into this like alternate dimension. The same reason that I love FMV games. It's just fun to think like at the time we thought that was the future of video games, FMV.
100,000.
I mean,
If
there were
you saw-
literally like you could buy VHS games that like interacted with your like little IR gun and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Yeah,
true.
like Captain Power.
Yeah,
VHS
Yeah,
games.
it
I
was
had
just
those.
I had
like,
one of
well,
those.
That's it. I mean, all video games were aiming to be realistic, and we achieved it. Well done, applaud to us. We did it.
Well, and
I felt the same with CDI games, like Zelda games. The Zelda games on the CDI is like maybe this was the future. Not that a whole lot of us actually heard of these games at the time. I think a few of us did.
yeah.
I remember hearing about Hotel Mario and all that stuff, and there's some weird branch of the timeline where that's the future of these Nintendo properties, and it's just fun to go down that avenue.
Well, and if you're like a kid or a teenager or a preteen, at the time where Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis were the epitome of tech that the average Joe could have, right? It wasn't like locked behind a paywall for people. The
We
rich
didn't know
kids,
they
right?
were just computers. We just thought they were something else.
Right. We didn't think of them as computers, even though they were, right? But the CDI, for as limited as it was, felt like a generational leap. You've got CD quality music. You've got these just millions of colors on the screen and these hand painted backgrounds. And then you touch someone with your sword and all of a sudden a movie plays, right? Like that was insane.
I think it was also like it was still so expensive to get a PC at home. Like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
to bring that, like your kids were playing these like CD-ROM games at the library and they were so impressed and they always want to go to the library. Well, now me and your mom are getting divorced, but you can play like this game over here at my house.
Right. Well, I mean, now this is ignorance talking because I didn't get my first computer till the summer after I graduated high school, which would be the summer of '98. But
Me
My
too.
what's that?
Oh, I said me too. I graduated in 98 also.
Yeah. You and I are like 3 months apart in age.
Yeah.
But my understanding is in the 90s, like 91, 92, 93 to 95 or whatever. Your average home computer cost something like $3,000, and that was before you adjusted for inflation. So what would it be adjusted for inflation? I mean, God, that'd be what almost $10,000. Or no, that's probably not. That's probably too high, but maybe $6,000-$7,000, right? So
Like I went to so I graduated high school in 2000, and my family had just gotten their first like desktop PC like the second half of my senior year.
Mhm.
Like we could finally afford one. We weren't using web TV anymore.
web TV are you talking about like teletext stuff?
Yes, we used web TV, and then we got web TV plus. Like we were on that for so long. And my dad was doing all of his eBay stuff through that. It was crazy.
I never had teletext back in the day, but one rabbit hole that I've started to fall down is like the wacky, ugly Christmas sweaters game, right? And I have a teletext Christmas sweater.
We didn't play games. It was just my dad was using like the actual like camcorder we had to like do a video still, and that's how we took pictures. And he was doing that for his eBay like listings.
Okay.
And for also like when I would talk to girls online, I would like use that to show my picture in like the Christian chat rooms that I was doing.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, it was cool. But web TV, that's a whole other thing we could get into.
We
sometime.
kind of fell down a wormhole for Arzette, but Arzette's cool. It's on Switch.
I got to know if you're going to get the CDI controller that Limited Run put out for Switch.
I want to, because you know what? I'm gonna step away from the mic for a second because you'll appreciate this. Hold on a second.
Let's see it. I can't wait.
Uh-oh.
You're talking about this guy.
I'm talking about that guy.
Yeah.
The
Damn.
CDI controller.
Yeah,
Hey,
the most atrociously bad controller of all time. But the controls are so bad on CDI Zelda that it probably wouldn't be too much worse to play.
Is that
the
a
game
ball?
No, it's not. It's here. I'm gonna try to get close to the camera without crashing a whole bunch of things.
I thought maybe it was like a mouse ball.
No,
No, it's not.
it's just a regular.
it looks like a VR controller for anyone who's not seen one.
So it's like one half of VR set.
It looks like a controller, but you just like hold it with and you have like the digital pad at the top, but no buttons.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you get. Well, I guess
Like
They
all
were
the-
probably
there's a-
trying
there's
to
one
make it
button
like
in the middle.
There's a
They were trying to
thumbstick
make it like
and then
a
all the buttons
remote.
are-
They were going for a simplified remote control motif.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're like the Wiimote before the
It's the
Wiimote.
first Wiimote. Wow.
Yeah, the head of the times.
God, I give up. I was going to try to do some wacky fusion of Wii and CDI.
Weedy-eye.
VDI.
Yeah, I guess.
Boom.
Of course I thought of that, but I'm like, nah, there's got to be something better than that. But-
Seaweed.
Okay, all right.
See Weedy-eye.
Abandon ship, everyone. Abandon ship.
That's enough. That's enough on Arzette, right?
I think so.
All right. Is there anything you want to talk about, John, before you go, John K?
Yeah, I got to cut it short this week, but I do need to mention that, well, of course, I've been playing a lot of Hitman, but this week there was actually an announcement that for Hitman, one of the more beloved elusive targets is coming back, which is we're going to get to kill Sean Bean again.
For England, 43 or what is it? 40, whatever his name is, the Hitman guy.
47.
47.
You were 4 short.
What do I don't know. What do I know? I don't play these games.
He's aged at 47. I know that guy.
Yeah, so Sean
40,
Bean
43 was
famously-
close.
Sean Bean.
The idea is
famously
not
dies
to know
and
him, but I
everything.
know him. Yeah. Sean Bean dies in the first season of Game of Thrones. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
And then Bran wins at the end. It's so random.
But so Sean Bean was one of the elusive targets that, as a sort of a wink at that sort of meme or whatever, that joke, you get to kill him in Hitman. But now he's back. And
But
it
we got to
looks like-
kill him in Goldeneye as well.
That's what I said for England.
Oh, yeah.
That's what that's
Oh,
from.
sorry.
That was what that joke
Yeah.
was from.
I don't know. It seems like from the trailer, like maybe they added something. I didn't get to play it the last time around that it came around because these things are timed and you'll have to play them within a certain window. But I didn't get to play it the last time around. But it seems like from the trailer, like they maybe tweaked it a bit or added something to it. They made a whole 2-minute trailer about it. But it's going to be available from March 20. I think it was 21st to April 22nd or something. Basically for a month. You got a month to kill Sean Bean.
Nice.
Well, I'm really hoping Sega finally releases the Sean Bean. Never mind. The Sean Bean Mean Bean scene.
Do you think they'll sell any
Sean Bean's Mean Bean Machine?
Yes, Sean, that's great. I was going to ask if they sold it at LL Bean
Exclusively.
Yeah,
You can kill him in puzzle form.
that would be a funny picture of Sean Bean's Mean Bean Machine.
Or you kill him, but then you electrify him afterwards, and then he's a refried bean.
Yeah.
God, what is this with terrible puns tonight? I mean,
Yeah, you're full of beans.
We've been on a roll.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we're all together,
I'm full of beans.
we've been on it. We've been on a rolled up tortilla.
Yeah.
That was like a line from the Xenoblade DLC. One guy kept talking about beans. Yeah.
All right. I got to go. I'll
All right.
see you all next
Take
week.
care.
It was great to see you, John.
See you, John.
See you
See
later.
you
Next time, Gadget.
See you next time. Have a good night.
Buenos nachos.
Buenos nachos. Well, I don't want to say a whole lot just because we've already talked for a really long time on this podcast, and I don't want it to be 3 hours long. But I could just go through my stuff really quickly. I guess the one thing I haven't talked about yet is Mario vs. DK. I did buy that game, the remake one for Switch. It's fun. It's pretty simple, but it is very much a fun, like, let's get through some quick levels, and it's kind of like let's do another match, do another level. And I'm basically playing through it. I'm doing like a no death run or whatever, where I play the boss and I don't want to get hit at all, so I can get gold stars for everything, like that sort of thing. And it's fun. I made it to level 7. I think I just beat the snow level, I guess, the ice level or whatever is what I just got past. So I'm planning on beating it. I know it's not that long, but it looks nice for the new graphics or whatever, the new 3D graphics. It's fun to kind of try to speed run it too, because since I know how to do the jumps and stuff, so I try to kind of get through it as quick as I can. But mostly I've been playing Tomb Raider. That's the game I play more than anything else now is Tomb Raider Remastered. Who would have thought that I would really like that game, even though I was so
you love Lara Croft. You're always like talking about Lara Croft.
Yeah, it was so like, I really didn't have the patience for it when I was a teenager, and Tomb Raider, you really need a lot of patience to play the original Tomb Raider. But if you have it, it's really fun. I've already it hasn't showed my hour count yet, but it's already pretty high in the level versus the other games. But I'm still playing the first one. I got through like the first full level set, and I got to see this amazing PlayStation 1 cutscene. You can see it on my Twitter if you want to look at it. But
You're going to be playing the Uncharted games before we know it.
I don't like Uncharted. So
you don't know. You said that about Tomb Raider.
I've played Uncharted 1 through 3, and I didn't like any of them. So, and that's those
I'm
games.
Just saying, you said that about Tomb Raider.
I'm just saying that those games are not like Tomb Raider, though. They're just climbing.
Okay,
they're just climbing all the time and boring. So,
all right.
So
we'll see how you feel a year from now when you're like talking mad shit about how great.
I've already played those stupid games, and I don't like Nathan Drake, and he dresses stupidly. He has the dumbest outfits in the world.
You said that about Lara Croft.
I'm just waiting for the Nathan Drake tattoo.
Yeah. Well, no, Tomb Raider's great. I love that you can switch. Obviously, I talked about it last time. I love that you can switch the graphics whenever you want, and I do that constantly. Whenever I'm stuck on something, I'm like, well, look at the old way. Let's see how that was portrayed. And I do it in almost every level we go to, or that I see, so I can switch back and forth. But I've and I haven't looked at anything online. I'm not looking at anything whatsoever. So everything is like its own little puzzle box, and it seems incredibly comforting to me for whatever reason. And it's a great podcast game because there's like no music in this game at all. It's just like very small sound effects. Like there's really
kind of like Breath of the Wild,
unless you like run into like a like a monkey, or you have to shoot weird things. Like there's a part where you get attacked by lions, or there's this one level where you're just walking and all of a sudden a T-Rex comes out of nowhere and you got to fight a giant T-Rex. I made a little video of that on Twitter too. I was like, Lara Croft Dinosaur Hunter, because I just shot a fucking raptor in the face with a shotgun and just took him down. Because there's this level where you just go outside a cave and then all of a sudden there's dinosaurs there, and it never really explains why they're there. They're just there. It's like, okay. And there's a boss, there's a T-Rex boss that you have to fight. So anyway, Tomb Raider's fun. One thing there's kind of a bug that I've run into with it, where if I pause the game and I turn my Switch off, or I put it in sleep mode and I turn it back on, the game freezes, so I can't unpause the game, which is weird. But I've been saving all the time, so it hasn't like glitched out like Prince of Persia. And you can save like 50 times. Like you could, like I I just save scum like crazy in that game. It's basically, as you should, because there's no auto saves at all, not even when you beat a level. And I've run into that a couple times where you beat a level. There was this one level, you get to the level, 2 lions run at you, like right at the very beginning. And so you gotta fucking run. And I beat the level, and I got killed by the lion, and then it took me back to my save from the last level, because it doesn't auto-save anywhere. That's kind of another thing that I love about it, that it's just, it's brutal. It's brutal old school gaming, and I kind of love that about it. I've seen it on reviews. They call it the Dark Souls before the Dark Souls. It kind of is a little bit. Like it's very unforgiving. You got to
just play Elden Ring. I bought it for you.
You got to save us. I have it. I haven't. I'm afraid that it's gonna eat my soul or something. I bought Elden Ring the day I bought the Steam Deck because I wanted it to be the Steam Deck Breath of the Wild for me, but it never took because it was just way too brutal. You know what I mean? Like, so Jeremy, I got to the part where you have that giant like beast guy jump off the high ledge at you on the path, and you
can go around him.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did. I just I think the B button to do kind of that forward twirl jump thing, you know.
Yeah,
and
you can avoid him completely. He's just essentially it's like a mini boss.
I made it to the first real boss after that. You know, you keep going up that trail. And
Margit?
Sounds right. But I never...
Yeah, Margit is like where most people quit.
Well, I haven't sworn off it in terms of like, fuck this, I'm never coming back to it so long as I live. I haven't gotten to that point yet. But yeah, I died 20 times in about 40 seconds minus load time. And I'm like, okay, all right, maybe I'll come back to this someday, maybe. And that's the end of my Elden Ring saga so far. Basically, what I do in Tomb Raider, it's it makes me feel like I'm cheesing the game. But whenever there's a boss or something, I basically stand up on a higher level where they can't get to me and shoot them and watch them run around in circles. That's what I did with the T-Rex. Is I basically went into a cave and stood on like a higher plateau that the T-Rex couldn't get to, and I just kind of waited there and shot, and because it kind of goes in a circle and you just wait for it to come back around and you keep shooting it until it falls over. But the great thing about that is your handguns, you have unlimited ammo, so you never run out of ammo in Tomb Raider 1. So, but yeah, there's some weird shit. You get attacked by apes at one point. I put a video on Twitter of that too, where I kind of got like, I was like up against a wall and I like switched the camera angle, and then all of a sudden it turned into first person Lara Croft, where you could see like both the guns, like shooting the apes and all that, and you could see them run around. It's fun. It's a fun game. I guess my big disappointment since last week is I bought Ease 1 because they re-released Ease 1, like the original PC version of it.
But only in Japan,
it's
right?
Not
so far.
No, they released it in America, but it's not in English.
So the US eShop is not in English?
Yeah. I was so
lazy.
disappointed. Well, actually, it turns out there's basically this version of games that's called Egg Console is what it is. And it's a whole bunch of old PC ports of like RPGs and stuff like that. And all of them are in Japanese. Every single one.
So it's like specifically ports of a certain like Japanese PC or something.
Yeah, so it's like Xanadu and like Hydlide and like a bunch of these games. But they're all in fucking Japanese. And a bunch of them I really wanted to play. I really wanted to play Ease 1. But this is all in Japanese. So like the menus,
which I actually just learned recently from Retronauts that it's Fa Xanadu, not Fax Xanadu.
Well,
it's supposed to be like
because
Famicom
Xanadu, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I learned that on the most recent channel too, because Hugh mentioned that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I always wanted to talk to Hugh about Ease because I know he's a big Ease person.
I would love to get you and Hugh in front of each other.
Yeah, it was really like I watched a video like on how to play it without knowing Japanese and all that. And I've been doing like the Google Translate thing. I did it for like the Goemon game, and I did it for Ease 10. I was just kind of a little tired of it because I did it for like 2 Japanese demos in a row where I'm trying to like translate everything on my phone. I'm like, I don't want to do this again. So I haven't really played it, but I'm going to try it. I mean, I only bought it for $5, but I watched a video and I figured out, well, I can, because some things are in English, like you can, like the weapons and stuff that you buy are in English, but all of like the dialogue isn't in English. So it's kind of like, you can find your way around it, but I also want to know what the story is, and I do want to know what the people saying, that people in the town say, and all that, you know. So
what that reminds me of so much is the TurboGrafx 16 mini console, like the NES Mini kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I wanted that. I wanted one of those, but I never got one.
Well, I have one, and on balance, it's great, but it does have some drawbacks. You can access, because as I'm sure you know, the Japanese PC Engine library was like 750 some games, whereas the U.S. TurboGrafx library was only like 150
was like
games.
Less, yeah.
I mean, it's dramatically less. Like
I guess that's kind
of
of like my Mega Drive Mini that I got in Japan, because they have different. There's different games depending on where you got it at. If you bought the Genesis Mini, there's different games on that than the ones that are on the Japanese Mini.
Well, but it's different with the TurboGrafx Mini, because the regions only impact the way the physical console looks. All the regions, they have, you push a button to switch between the two libraries. You have a TurboGrafx library and you have a PC Engine library.
Oh, okay.
And but the PC Engine library has great games like the Japanese name for it would be Akumajo Chino Rondo, which in America we know as Castlevania Rondo of Blood.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know that name.
Yeah. Well, but it's in Japanese, and there's not an English version on it, and so it's that way with all the PC Engine games. But very few of the ones they bring actually are really dependent on dialogue. You know,
but all of these are like RPGs, so it's kind of like But I mean, and I was like, well, I could try to use Google Translate for it, but I was afraid of also because it's on an older PC, the font might not be able to pick up with Google Translate, because it kind of like blurs a little bit. So I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'll definitely try it out for next week. But in the meantime, I've been playing Ys 9 still. I made it through the 7th chapter, and I think there's only 9 chapters. There was one part that was pretty funny because I was switching between the two add-alls. Like there's one add-all that has like no levels whatsoever, so you're super weak, and then your regular Monstrum Nox add-all that you use, and you kind of like flip between them. And I fought this big like boss guy, and my one add-all can't hurt him at all, So I basically had to make him knock all the pillars down, and then he like falls through the ground. And he fell through the ground, and then he landed by the other add-all. And I walked up to him, and I just hit him in the face once, and he died. And it was hilarious. It was so fucking funny, because there's this guy that you can't hurt, and then you switch to your other character, and you're just like, dink, and then he's just like, dead. And I was like, that's funny. So
that is funny.
Yeah, so I've still been enjoying those games. But that's mostly, I've just been I was alternating between Tomb Raider and Mario vs. DK and Ys 9 until the Direct happened, and now I have a bunch of other games to play, so I need to get to do those. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But what do you got, Jeremy?
I mean, I won't talk about a whole lot because I played the demos we already talked about. That was kind of the big thing. I did play Final Fantasy VI some more this week because I don't know. I love playing it on fast forward. So I got through the opera scene, which I expected to be harder because they changed the lyrics, but it was really easy. And then, I beat Ultros, and I'm back to. I actually got to where I can pilot the airship, so that's where I am.
Nice.
So, Setzer tells me how to operate the airship. That's where I saved.
Okay.
I loved that airship so much when I first got to it. The first time I played that game, because finally you didn't have to get attacked all the time,
and you don't get to keep it very long.
Yeah, I forgot to mention this last week, but did you know that you don't get experience points from beating bosses in Final Fantasy VI? I just learned that.
Bosses?
Bosses do not give you experience points.
That sounds right.
You get 0 experience points in Final Fantasy VI.
So is it just magic points or whatever?
I guess so. It's weird. Well, I mean, I haven't played the game in a while, and I'm used to most RPGs. When you beat a boss, you get a ton of experience points, and you level up. You get 0 for every boss in Final Fantasy VI. I just didn't know that. Well, I looked it up because I beat the fucking Phantom Train, and it said 0 experience, and I'm like, what the hell? And I looked it up online, and they said, no, you don't get experience points for bosses in Final Fantasy VI.
That sounds right. I mean, it's been a long time since I played Final Fantasy VI, but that sounds right.
But you can get job points and stuff, but I'm not there yet,
So they had a special on Steam where you could buy all 6 of the pixel remastered Final Fantasy 1 through 6, and the bundle was only like $60. Because you could buy that on Switch, but it's like $105 for the cartridge, right?
It's $80. I bought the whole thing.
Well, on Amazon right now, it's going for like $109.
Well, I guess if you're buying the physical version, I'm sure it's more. But if you bought it and it wasn't jacked up, it was $80.
Okay. Well, but even so, $60 is still cheaper than that.
But there was a sale that Switch had them for 62.
Oh,
if you
okay,
bought all
okay.
of them. It was a sale across all systems. I saw that where all of them were on sale. But I already bought them when they came out, even though I've only played. I mean, I played a good amount of 5. I think I played the most of Final Fantasy 5. And I played 1. Justin and I played 1 a little bit. And 6 I played recently because I was on a podcast about it.
Well, way back in the day when they used to be called Final Fantasy 2 and Final Fantasy 3 in America.
I remember, but I want to say it correct now.
Yeah, I want to say it correct too, but what is that?
The
Fantasy
Final
neat.
Fantasy 5 game, or book, the Chris Kohler one that we got.
Neat.
Never read it. I should. Actually, I don't even know where it is since I moved.
Well, but back in the quote unquote Final Fantasy 2 and 3 days, I had beat Final Fantasy 2.
I beat Final Fantasy 2. I beat it on Virtual Console on Wii, so I beat the Super Nintendo version.
I beat it on the actual Super Nintendo, but Final Fantasy 3,
It's the same.
I know. Well, I know, but Final Fantasy 3, I think my brother beat it. I think I watched it. I remember the final boss being really this kind of like angelic tower kind of thing.
Oh yeah. My sister thought it was like some devil worship stuff. She was freaked out by it because of all the organs and all that shit. But my brother-in-law actually helped me beat it because some people forget that Final Fantasy was a multiplayer on Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
You could play more of them. I actually told that to the person I was on the podcast with, and he didn't believe me. And I was like, "No,
I
dude."
beat it on my own
It was
because I'm a cool guy.
It was fun because he just we played and he just kept doing the moves, the Saban's blitz moves or whatever. It was fun to play 2-player. Like we kind of both got the game at the same time, so we would just like, swap stories about where the game was at and all that. And
I was 13-year-old,
and I got to
myself.
I got to Kefka before he did, so we just did it. We did it 2-player and it was a lot of fun.
I'll be honest, I don't know if I knew about the 2-player mode, but I don't have any trouble believing it. You know what I mean? Like that sounds.
It's it's not available in the re-release. They totally took it out.
Yeah, well,
I think it's only on the Super Nintendo when it had multiplayer.
Okay.
But it was fun if you wanted to hang out with your buddies and play the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, have you beat Baldur's Gate 3 yet?
Nope. Just I got to a point where I'm like, I went down and there's like a sacred dragon who's supposed to help defend the city. And I went down and I freed the dragon. He just wants to kill me. So yeah, it's probably because I'm bad.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm stuck right now. So I am actually like, I think I said it last week that I was about to beat it, but yeah, I don't know if I'm going to beat it anytime soon because I think I might need to respec. This dude keeps kicking my ass, and it's a pretty formulaic battle, but the dude like does this thing where he stores up energy, and then if you're not properly shielded, you just die in one hit. So it kind of sucks. You have to have like your heals like lined up and everything. So whatever. I'm gonna drop it.
Click them heels together.
Like this week, I was just playing a lot of Switch as of today, actually. So not this week, but no. There is one thing I wanted to show, and I don't know. Like I feel like we've been showing our art.
I can describe it to the where we can describe it to the
I'm going to show my little
to the audio only, which is most of it.
Painting I've been working on for a couple weeks, and I finally am ready to show it.
There it is.
That's very nice.
I'll probably add it to my wall of stuff here.
So it's a Shy Guy. Is it supposed to be kind of a glitched Shy Guy? Is
That's
that
what
why
it looks like.
Is that why the colors in the background are different and like some of it's
so
blurred?
It's just called Shy, and it's supposed to be like he's like kind of his head's mixed up, and he's like mixed up where he is. So it's like I don't know, like the head's in like not quite in the clouds, but like in water, and then
So it's not an outward glitch. It's an attempt to reflect the inward glitch.
right. So Shy Guy's
Reflect
trying to
the
walk
shyness.
forward, but everything around him is distorted because of all the thoughts he has.
Okay, I like it.
No, it looks. It's kind of like it's kind of like an abstract Shy Guy.
You've got
It's cool.
But if you scrunch your eyes, you can tell it's a Shy Guy.
Oh no, you can tell it's a Shy Guy immediately.
Yeah, you don't have to scrunch your eyes to see it.
If I put it way back here, that's a Shy Guy.
Okay, but we could tell
But if
immediately.
you get up close, that's kind of weird.
We have
I don't know.
a Shy Guy painting at our house too that just did.
I know this is a bit off topic, but I love how the Shy Guy was never actually intended to be part of the Mario canon.
Oh, because it was a
Nope.
Doki Doki Panic.
character.
Doki Doki Panic.
But it
yeah.
got like pretty much
folded
brought
in,
into it.
Folded in, yeah. Yeah.
It's a great
And I
character,
tend
though.
to I really like Birdo. Like that's my other painting I did.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like Shy Guy. Like the Mario 2 characters are just so cool. Like I really want to do the little the snow guy. He's cool too.
It's really good art, and the part that it's really good objectively. But the thing I like the most is that you're just doing it. You know what I mean? Like, like, hey, I don't want to dream about making art. I'm going to go ahead and just go for it. And it looks really good from here. But
Thank you.
The most important thing is you're just going for it.
It's cool. You'll have to like take a picture of it or something and send it to me so I can put it in the artwork for the episode somewhere.
Sure.
So people can see it.
Yeah, I mean, I've
So
got
when
a bit
when
of
I
an
post it,
art history, but it predates my I don't know. I'm old, so it was younger, but I won some awards back in the day, but it was like when I was a kid, So I still have sort of an art thing in me, but it's not anymore. It's just like you said, John. I'm like, I want to make some art, and I just do it.
Yeah.
that's the way to do it. Yeah, I was in art classes and I painted stuff and got graded for it, but I never really just painted something just for the fun of it. And just paint stuff all the time. We should try painting together.
I would love to paint with y'all. Like, I love painting with people. Like, painting around other people is especially nice because you're in that environment, like it's fun.
Let's get together in person, not over a Zoom call with a banana costume, 4 a.m. Let's like get together actually in person. By the way, it was Jeremy in the banana costume, not me. Although I would have been perfectly happy in the banana costume. Anyway, not while you're in it. I mean, I'd have to be in my own banana costume, but
everyone can get their own
There's
banana
no room
costume.
for nobody else in my banana costume.
That's right.
Not even cats.
This is not a banana built for two. But anyway, get together in person, do drugs, get out the paints, see what happens. We got to make
It's all about the grid. The grid is important.
We got to make it a bucket
Exactly.
list
I've
thing,
learned
too.
about the grid because I've been playing the Tomb Raider games. They're very grid based.
So what I thought was theme of the grid, the piece of music from Ball Blazer that like semi-randomly generates.
I don't know. You have to send it to me and I'll put it in this episode. But if I don't know, I think that's good. I don't even know how long we've been recording for, but it's probably been a really long time and I have to edit it. So
It's been about we're coming up to 3 hours
that's what I'm saying. So
without like breaks
What's
and
that?
stuff.
I was going to say, is it okay if I shout out my stuff real quick?
Oh yeah. I haven't even asked you to promote yourself at all. John Wedgeworth, tell everybody where they can find you on the internet.
Well, so I guess now I actually have 2 projects. One of them I've been doing for. I'm in the beginning of my 8th year doing it. It's a video game music podcast. Well, it's a pair of video game music podcasts called Nerd Noise Radio. The older show, Nerd Noise Radio Channel 1, I'm calling a mixtape plus. So it's like this giant mixtape designed to take, it's just uninterrupted music designed to take you on a winding, flowy journey with vaguely NPR style intro and outros, bookending it, inspired less by other video game music podcasts and more by like actual FM radio music programs like Hearts of Space, which the coolest thing that ever happened to me was getting to work with those guys twice. And then Channel 2, me and Hugh Johnson of Retro Game Club, a co-host of Chicago, who I really am trying to get in front of Trey. We'll see if we can make that happen someday. But anyway, it's more of a traditional video game music podcast. The 2 of us get together, we take turns sharing tracks, talking about them, talking about related, completely unrelated stuff, just wherever the conversation takes us. So we do those. You can find them anywhere. You can find them on we do have a Spotify for Nerd Noise Radio, but Spotify lately has gotten into the habit of deleting episodes of music-based podcasts. They want to get music podcasts off Spotify. So I do not want anyone to follow us on Spotify because you'll miss half our content. We're basically just playing chicken with Spotify at this point. Let's see how long it takes for them to just kick us off completely. So wherever podcasts are sold, your podcatcher of choice, Apple Music, Google Music, or Apple Music, Google Podcasts, YouTube Music it'll be coming there, Amazon, blah, 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 blah. If you think it's out there, it's probably out there. And then a new project that I'm just starting. Last year, I was diagnosed with autism type 1 and ADHD. And when you have This is not a medical term. This is not a scientific term. It's a colloquial term. But when you have both autism and ADHD, it's colloquially referred to as ADHD, capital A, lowercase u, capital DHD. And so I started, it started as a Threads account. And now I have a couple YouTube videos, and I really want to keep this thing going. I want to just see how far it goes. But it's a neurodivergence vlog, and it's called ADHD, but it's not spelled capital A, lowercase u, capital DHD. It's spelled capital O, lowercase DDIE, space HD. So an obvious nod to ADHD, but it's also meant to convey like weirdo and high definition. You know, I want to just put the weirdness of St. John on full blast. The subtitled channel is called The Spectrum of St. John of the Spectrum. You know, so I'm like, I want to be the full picture of me who is a tiny part of this bigger thing. You know, there's so many channels out there called so-and-so on the spectrum. Some of them are fantastic. I'm not trash talking any of them. You know, Mom on the Spectrum, Foster on the Spectrum. They're great stuff. But as a channel name, I feel like that's really kind of overplayed. And so I wanted to do something different, something, you know, quirky, something John, right? You know, so it's out there. I've only got 2 videos. They don't have a ton of views, and they were not quality productions. One of them I was down in this room with the lights off, staring into my phone camera, and that's all I did. The other one, I did the same thing, except I was in the car. I was going like this while I was paying attention to the road.
Yeah, I thought it was just like kind of like a spur of moment monologues is what I haven't watched any of them, but I thought maybe that's what they were. They're not necessarily spur of the moment, or just like, you know.
No, they were pretty spur of the moment.
You know, just single phone camera monologues, like that sort of thing.
That's basically what they have. What the first 2 have been. Yeah. So if you check them out, that's what you're going to find. But I want to see where that goes. You know, because my diagnosis has changed my life. You know, I've always felt like I'm from another planet. I've always felt like I communicate in a way that no one else does, for better and worse, you know, but it keeps me isolated, right? I think differently. You know what I realized? I came up with this amazing metaphor of autism occurred to me. It's like the final part in Faking It in the Jackbox game, where the faker is getting different prompts than everyone else, but they don't realize they're getting different prompts, and everyone else doesn't know that they're getting different prompts. That's kind of what it's like to be an autistic person. I'm getting this prompt from this situation, and everyone else around me is getting a different prompt, but they don't realize I'm getting a different prompt. I don't realize they're getting a different prompt, and then the output from those prompts doesn't line up, and it's an awkward, weird situation. Because why is John acting this way? They don't realize I received a completely different data set that I'm acting off of. You know, it's all a processing thing. Anyway, it changed my life, the diagnosis. And if I can be a part of someone else's life changing, I want to do that. Find me out there, ADHD. You can find me on literally, I think virtually every social media outlet. Not stuff like Truth Social. I mean, I'm not going to go anywhere near that bullshit. But you know, the mainstream social media, you'll find me literally everywhere. So
that's ADHD. That's on Truth Social.
Oh, is there a? Oh yeah,
standard definition.
Yes.
No. It's definitely not there. John, I want to say you're one of my favorite like friends I've made through podcasting. Absolutely, and I mean that should be pretty obvious that we love you as a podcast. That Trey's there with you right now, but I've been so excited, like as you've been finding out about your journey and hearing about it, and like I love what you might. Sorry, I'm being a little bit you know, I care about myself a little bit here, but I love the perspective you bring to our show as a guest, because you're finding your own new like journey here, and I'm excited to hear about it.
I appreciate that and love you guys too, and I'm always excited to get to sit in with you guys. I mean, this is a blast. My schedule's such where I couldn't do it all the time, but you know, this occasional thing where we all get together, it's just a blast.
Happen to be here when we're recording anyway. I was like, oh, we should do it in the Nerd Noise Radio basement. Also, I do have a picture of you in our house, because if you're on the Patreon at $15 and above, you can actually get Nintendomain posters. And one of the posters I made was actually a collage of all of the guests that evolved, like the notable guests or whatever on our show. And there's one of you in there. So
that's really.
And
cool.
I framed it, and it's by the door of the studio of where I record in the house. So
You're just an example of a real friend, like a real life friend I made through the show.
There's the picture
I
of
love
you
you.
when you're holding the Tower of Power Sega thing.
Oh, yes.
Like a boombox. That's the
Yes.
picture that I used, where I put like fake sunglasses on
We
you
were
or
holding
something.
that up
and,
like this.
and we're all kind of looking at you, and it kind of, to me, it looks like a scene from Streets of Rage. Is like kind of what I was trying to go for with it.
Oh, that's so
It was
cool.
that cover that. But
I
any-
remember
any-
that.
But anyway, I made a
collage.
I made like a collage of all these different podcast covers that had like guests in them. So there's like there's like one with Janet, and there's one with Tim, Jess's brother, and Chris Leeson, and like developers and all these other people that we've had on there. So, but you're on there, so you're on the wall. So it's pretty cool.
That's super cool. And I mean, there's 1,000 reasons I want to get back to Chicago, and several of them involve getting to spend time with you and Jess. Now I have a new one. Now I've got to go. Now I got to get down to your basement to see this poster.
You got to see the basement. Yeah, the
I gotta see the
basement's
basement.
pretty
Well, I've
cool.
gotta
I
see
like
the
it down
wall.
The
there.
basement is incredible. I appreciate
It's
it.
one of my favorite places to hang out at. It's a good It's good. It's a good place.
Yeah,
Good
that's
basement to hang out at.
super cool. Well, Jeremy, I deeply appreciate everything you said. I really love the both of you guys too, and I mean, obviously, I've had a chance to see Trey in person. I haven't had that luxury with you. I really would like to do that sometime.
I have to try to plan
Come-
it sometime.
Coming to my wedding on September 28th.
Oh yeah, Jeremy's getting married in a few months.
Okay, September 28th. Send me an actual invite, and I will,
I will.
figure out a way. I'll figure out a way to make it happen.
I was saying, if you don't ask him jokingly, because you showed, we sent out the invite
It's
to
not
you
a joke.
for the birthday, and you still showed up. No, I'm just saying that John will actually come if you say you're coming. Is what I mean.
Well, yes, but I feel like I owe you a do-over too, because I went to the Logan Arcade, and there was this whole conversation happening in this big crowded place, and I couldn't find a way to kind of make a purchase into that conversation.
Oh yeah,
And-
you kind of disappeared, but I figured you were just distracted by all of the arcades that are there.
Well, no, I kind of went and hid with the Sega Genesis Mini. I kind of had like a little mini meltdown and just like hid.
yeah.
But don't feel bad for me. I feel bad for you. I feel like I came for you and then basically blew you off.
Oh, that's okay. I figured you were just, I don't know, it's an arcade. You can go play games.
I was
You
to
don't-
say you were
you don't
doing
have
the
to
right
hang out.
thing.
You don't
in
have
the-
to hang out at me
the right
with me the whole
place.
time. There's tons of stuff to do there. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up for this episode because it's kind of late, and like I said, we're also at John's house, and I know you got to work earlier, so I don't want to keep you up too late, and I got to get back to the hotel. But yeah, thanks everybody for listening to our episode on the Nintendo on the Direct, and thanks again for joining us, John. And it was fun to be able to film and record in here in your basement, and when we finally got everything worked out, so
Yeah, no,
you get
this
to
was a
see the
blast.
other side of things here with my little portable recording machine and all that. Actually, it's not little; it's
That
very heavy.
That looks like some weird piece of like meteorological science. I mean, with all the little antennas and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
I'll just explain it to you before I leave. I can show you all the stuff. But yeah, thanks everybody for listening. And like I said before, if you want to hear more of us, go to patreon.com/Nintendomain podcast. I just put up the epicest of all epic WART radios, which was it was January and February stuck together, and it's almost 4 hours long because
Nice.
there was a lot of stuff that happened. So it's like our Game of the Year stuff that has a ton of music from that, and there's like all the expansion packs and the OC Remix episode we did. So there's a bunch of OC Remix stuff in there. And it even ends with that 20-minute Zelda song that Larry mentioned on our episode, the Unsealed,
Yes.
A Link to the Past song. So it was already at like 3 hours and 20 minutes, and I just pushed it to 3 hours and 40 minutes with the 20-minute OC Remix song as the finale. So yeah, if you're on the $5 level, you can check that out. I made sure and finished it before I left, so it would be available to everybody because I had fallen behind in my WRT radio duties. But it has a lot of Twin Peaks stuff in there too, so it's pretty. I tried to just go pretty bizarre with it. So yeah, enjoy that. Lots of screaming and whatnot. But yeah, check that out. And also you can find us on the internet. We're on Blue Sky. You can find Nintendomain on Blue Sky. We're on Twitter. I'm at Nintendo_domain. Jeremy's at JMaxStack. You can find us at YouTube, youtube.com/Nintendomain podcast. You can find our other show, Wrestle Chat, on there, which we do weekly, where Joe and I talk about wrestling. And play AEW 5 Forever, and Shake's on there pretty often as well. We have guests. We talk about wrestling stuff. And you can also find this podcast on there in audio form with a static image. But people watch it on there, so that's why it's on there. But yeah, this has been our show. We're your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson.
I'm Jeremy Kowski.
And John Nidder left earlier, and our special guest,
St. John from Des Moines, the autistic.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. See you next time.
Hasta la see ya.
Yep. Hasta la bye-bye.
Hasta la bye-bye.
Shut up until I'm called on.
Shut up. Okay, we were rolling all around, right?
Yes.